Salute, salute. Happy Father's Day to all. Trolls, this one's for you. So let's start by saluting to, what I'm saying, the internal indigenous spiritual most high. Y'all know. All right. Trolls, only God and mama can love you. Last but not least, one time, yeah. In remembrance of Jimmy McNair, may he rest in power and live on at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Here we go. Where's me gold? I needs me shillings so I control. And I'm not sure if today can really be deemed trolling. Okay, so I took a couple of days off from this because I had to detox my mind, y'all. But I'm going to keep pushing this. I'm not going to back off of this Karmelo thing. This was a tragedy. This was a man. It was just damaging to the whole entire country. Let's put it that way. It was just damaging. What we're gonna do right here is explore some videos. We're gonna look at the footage, and I want everyone to let me know if you still agree that Karmelo was who, these individuals try to paint him to be. I personally saw three different people shoving Karmelo under that tent. I even saw Karmelo attempt to try to flee. That does not seem like there was malice or any intent. Okay. And there's also word out now that Karmelo never took anything to school, that the initials that was found on the very weapon he used against Austin had one of the twins' initials on it, which is why they never presented it in court as evidence to begin with. They only showed one side of the weapon. The other side had the twins' initials on it. Oh, the truth is coming out now. The truth is coming out. But all of this could have been prevented to keep Karmelo from going through what he's going through right now. I don't even think that this was manslaughter now that that video was out. I think it was actually self-defense. I think he actually had the right to stand his ground. But let's get into it, y'all. This is what we have to deal with in America when it comes to these type of people, y'all. Fair use, educational purposes, literary purposes, commentary purposes. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, Antonio Talks. He also has a backup page, Antonio Speaks. This young man is young, brilliant, sees things from the lens of a more seasoned individual. Like, I'm very impressed with this brother right here. Let's get it. Fair use, educational purposes.
So today, y'all, we're going to be pointing out some crazy hypocrisy, like we always do. We on Twitter, and we have a post from a huge right-wing anti-black Twitter page. He states, how can we coexist with this? And as you can see, these are two AI photos, nothing physical, of some dark humor, okay? Based off the caption, they are very upset, and a lot of people in the comments are. But y'all, this was the same page who posted things like this. Congrats to George Floyd, 5 years sober. Or another one, Derek didn't kill George Floyd, fentanyl did. But anyway, going back to the original post, those were AI photos. None of those were real images that black people did. But check this out. Y'all remember the George Floyd challenge? Where white men would get another white man and put his knee on it. It's like, look at this, y'all. How can we coexist with this? Or better yet, y'all, the Trayvon challenge, where white men would go to the store and grab a iced tea and a bag of Skittles and put on and lay on the floor and play dead.
Now, let me bring it to your attention. When Charlie Kirk was unalived, they were calling people's jobs and getting people, let's just say, fired from their jobs, okay? Fired from their jobs. They were affecting people's stability and livelihood, right? All right. This happens to Austin. The whole world is supposed to feel bad for Austin. But these are the same people who supported Kyle Rittenhouse and Daniel Penny and George Zimmerman and the rest of the Ku Klux gang. You understand what I'm saying? So we're supposed to feel sympathy for them, but they're going to troll us and justify every single black death that takes place in this country, knowing that they're hostile, knowing that they're violent, and knowing the racist history in this country. Let's get back to it, y'all. Hypocrites.
It was cool when y'all did it, right? It was funny. So as you can see by the title, man, it's cool when they do it, but it's a problem when we get that same energy back, even though we didn't give the same energy back because these were real life things that they did. Better yet, talking about grave sites, take a look at a bullet-ridden memorial of Emmett Till's death site. And just for context, if you don't know who Emmett Till was, he was a 14-year-old Black American boy from Chicago whose murder in Mississippi in 1955 became a pivotal movement in the American Civil Rights Movement. In August of 1955, Emmett Till traveled from Chicago to visit his relatives in Money, Mississippi. At a local store, he was accused of offending a white woman. Carolyn Bryant accounts of exactly what happened varied, but decades later, Bryant said parts of her story of her original accusations were not true. A few nights later, Bryant's husband, Roy Bryant, and his half-brother, J.W. Millam, abducted Emmett Till from his great-uncle's home. They brutally beat, tortured, and murdered him before disposing his body in the Tallahatchie River. And I'm gonna get a little descriptive here, man. They beat him up, gouged his eyeballs out. I mean, mutilated him. I don't even think I can show the photo of his body, but I want you guys to look it up if you've never heard of him. It is pretty graphic. When Emmett's body was recovered, it was severely disfigured. His mother, Mamie Till Mobley, made the courage decision to hold an open casket funeral in Chicago so the world could see what had been done to her son. Photographs of Emmett's body were published in magazines and newspapers.
The sad part about this story is, oh man, we seen an all-white jury show up and acquit these two morons within 1 hour of deliberation. 1 hour of deliberation, and then they come out when they couldn't be tried under double jeopardy again. They came out and admitted that they did it. That they did it, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. So we have seen an all-white jury get it wrong at least twice now. They got it wrong with Emmett Till, and they got it wrong with Karmelo. Let's go.
Papers and shocked millions of Americans. Bryant and Millam were tried for murder by an all-white jury and acquitted. Later protected by double jeopardy laws, they admitted in a magazine interview that they had killed Emmett Till.
I was just sitting at the red light and a woman ran into the back end of my car. Definitely in shock, just so much going on. I wasn't even really sure where to start. I called Hale Law, and within a couple minutes, I was speaking to an attorney. Tell the insurance company you're going to.
I mean, just pure devils. This is the site where Till's body was removed from the water. It was taken to the Greenwood, I can't even read it. They shot it up. And look at these thugs posted in front of the site after it was shot up. I mean, how can we coexist with this? I literally just came across a video of a white man who debunked Emmett Till. Even though he didn't debunk anything, he was basically insinuating.
This is the racism we are forced to live with in our country, on our land. Okay? I just did a video to let y'all know exactly where these thugs came from, y'all. They're not from here. They brought all of Europe with them, escaping the Black Plague, Black Death. Okay, I just did a live stream not too long ago showing you their history, since they won't show you their history and they just hide behind the colorized version of whiteness. All right, of whiteness. And this is sick, y'all. You know, we're supposed to love everyone. Everyone's supposed to be treated equally. You understand what I'm saying? We're all here together. We all put our pants on one leg at a time. You know, real talk, man. Real talk. All right. So this is what Black America has been dealing with. And this is how they troll us when there's an injustice of a Black death in this country. It's funny to them. It should be funny to anyone who has a history of doing these type of things. But it's not funny to those who have a history of always having to suffer at the hands of these same people, y'all, of these same colonizers. All right.
Waiting that Emmett Till deserved his death. Just know that white men are really trying to rewrite history right now. Moving on from Emmett Till, we have more examples. This is the headstone and actual grave site of Fred Hampton. Fred Hampton, who was a 20-year-old member of the Black Panther Party, who was feeding his community. Started the free breakfast program that we see in the United States as of today. He started that. He was uniting white people, Black people during the 1960s. And they killed him at the age of 21 after spiking his drink from an informant, rushing into his home while he was asleep next to his wife that was pregnant, and killed him while he was asleep. This is all documented facts. His family ended up getting money because he was assassinated. This man was uniting people, and they shoot up his gravestone damn near every year, y'all. How can we coexist with this? This is another photo of Fred Hampton and his son where they shot.
Name one time we've done this. Who's gone to Charlie Kirk's grave? Who's gone to Hulk Hogan's grave? You know what I'm saying? Who's gone to Sam Walton's grave? You know, if you don't know the history of Walmart and Sam Walton, you might want to check that out too. But no one shows up to these white supremacist graves. Who showed up at Nathan Bedford Forrest's grave? You know, the first Grand Wizard, extreme Democrat, and founder of the KKK. Yeah. Who showed up at his gravesite and did these things? Who? I just want to know. We don't do this. When we tell you this is not our way, it's your way, we don't do evil, malicious things like this, man. But they don't seem to have a conscience. They don't seem to have a soul. They don't seem to give a spam, y'all. They don't seem to give a spam. Look at this, man. Someone else's gravesite. Look at this, man. This is terrible right here, man. How can you live with yourself, man? You know what I'm saying? How can you live with yourself? That is what I want to know. And somehow they find comfortable ways of doing it. Comfortable ways of doing it, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all give me just a second. I got to forward some information over to someone. Y'all give me just a second. Yeah. Goodness, I hate Androids. I think that does it. Yeah, that does it. Nope, I sent it to the wrong one. The wrong one. Okay, I'll figure it out later. I'll figure it out later. All right, so back to the subject at hand. We don't do these type of malicious things, ladies and gentlemen. We hold ourselves to be more of a prideful people, people of integrity, people of morals, people, spiritual beings, y'all. So this isn't our walk of life right here, but this is what's the word I'm looking for, man? This is quite a reminder of who they are, so to speak. Okay, stumbling over my words this morning, y'all.
Up the gravesite. I mean, this is a reoccurring thing with these folks. Once again, how can we coexist with this? Have you guys ever heard of Mary Turner? Back in 1918, after being upset that her husband was lynched by a white mob, she was then lynched herself. Mind y'all, she was 8 months pregnant at the time. And let me tell you how they went about doing this lynching. So they tied her upside down, set her on fire, cut her unborn baby out of her stomach. And once the baby was on the ground, stomped on the baby. So once again, how can we coexist with the ancestors of these people?
You've likely heard of Black Wall Street.
But they'll tell you they're not evil. They'll tell you to stop passing on racism and division. They'll tell you to stop playing victim. But yet, who haven't they victimized? Who haven't they victimized, ladies and gentlemen?
You probably heard a white mob burned it down in 1921. But most people who know that story stop there. And the part that comes after is usually the part that just doesn't get told. Because what happened during the Tulsa Race Massacre was devastating. But what happened after is a whole other level of calculated. Greenwood was a neighborhood in Tulsa, Oklahoma. They had hospitals, law offices, 2 newspapers, 2 movie theaters, black doctors, lawyers, dentists, all built by a community that white institutions refused to serve. No government help, no outside investment. They built it themselves. Booker T. Washington visited it in 1905 and dubbed it the Black Wall Street. And that's exactly why it had to be destroyed. On May 30th, 1921, a black shoe shiner named Dick Rowland got into an elevator with a white elevator operator named Sarah Page. Now, what happens next is disputed. The most common account is that he stepped on her foot accidentally, and she screamed. He ran, and when the cops showed up...
Accidentally. Y'all got to get my morning supplements in me, man. Y'all know I got to get my morning supplements in me. So here's what we got going on, ladies and gentlemen. Here's what we got going on. Okay, we have our blackberry. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We've got our black elderberry. It's important to stay healthy, man. Take your supplements. We got our folic acid. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We got our turmeric and ginger gummies, y'all. All right, we got our flaxseed oil, omega 369. Yeah. We have our magnesium, ladies and gentlemen. Our magnesium. Of course, I'm going to be adding iron. And we also got the shilajit, baby. We also have the shilajit. I told y'all I don't play by health, man. I don't play by health, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't play.
She refused to press charges. That detail matters. The Tulsa Tribune ran a headline calling for his arrest and an editorial that survivors say called for a lynching that night. An editorial that was later removed from the paper's own archives. By evening, a white mob of thousands had gathered at the courthouse. Around 75 Black men, many of them World War I veterans. They went to protect Roland and somebody fired a shot. And the city of Tulsa was set loose on Greenwood. The police deputized hundreds of white men on the spot and sent them in. The Department of Justice described it a century later as a coordinated military-style attack. In 18 hours, these thugs burned 35 city blocks, a hospital, a library, churches, more than 1,200 homes, at least 10.
It's 2026, though. And we should stop playing victim, though. We should stop playing victim, y'all. It's 2026. Why are we playing victim? Maybe because in 2026, these colonizers are still doing the same exact thing. Maybe. Just a hunch, y'all. Just a hunch. Let's roll with it.
10,000 people homeless. Historians estimate between 100 and 300 people killed. A number never confirmed because nobody in power wanted to count the bodies. Dick Rowland was eventually exonerated. All charges dismissed, and he eventually left Tulsa. Now, in the days after the massacre, the city of Tulsa passed a fire ordinance imposing new building codes on the Greenwood area. So expensive and specifically targeted that most Black residents who had just lost everything couldn't afford to comply. It wasn't illegal to rebuild. It was just made impossible. The all-white grand jury blamed Black Tulsans for the massacre. No.
Let me stop here. Again, when we say things like reparations, they like to laugh and say things were so long ago. Now, the J community got reparations. Asians, Chinese, all of them got reparations, y'all. You know, everything non-Black has always received reparations. Till this day, even the survivors of the Tulsa, Oklahoma massacre, you know, have never received reparations. Those in Seneca Village never received reparations. Rosewood, Florida, never received reparations. I think it's got something to do with Blackness. Y'all. Let's go.
Not one white person was convicted. Insurance claims were denied. And the Tulsa Tribune's editorial page, it praised the destruction and even made the argument that the city should never allow Greenwood to be what it was.
So at the end of the day, y'all, these people are hypocrites and they can never take what they dish out. They generalize us, but when we generalize them, it's a problem. And don't generalize all white people, but y'all can generalize all Black people. Make it make sense. Yeah, man, these folks, they love to do mind Jedi tricks on people, man. We moving on from that situation, though. For the rest of this video, though, we're going to be promoting some Black businesses that I got sent in to my email. If you don't know over here, man, at the end of pretty much some of my videos on this channel, I will be promoting Black businesses that you guys send in. My email is down in the description. If you have a Black business or you know a Black business.
All right. So I want to thank Antonio for his always much needed, commentary videos and his insight on Black injustice in this country. Young man does a great job, an amazing job. If you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? All right, y'all. I did that as a warm up. We're going to get to the Karmelo footage. But we still warming up. We are still warming up. You know what I mean? So next up, y'all, we have the amazing Lucas. Fair use, educational purposes. Lucas is now admitting that he was wrong. And I was about to unfollow the amazing Lucas too when I heard how he was coming down on Karmelo Anthony. But I know he is of a sound mind and we all don't get it right. So I'm glad that I didn't hit that unsubscribe button because my man came back and made it right. Now that the video footage of what really happened to Karmelo Anthony that day at the track meet was really released. And it does not, everything that those witnesses said that day in his trial against him was a blatant lie. The video shows everything. It shows everything. And it was truly self-defense, ladies and gentlemen. He truly was getting bullied. 3 different people shoved Karmelo. 3 different people. But let's see what the amazing Lucas has to say about this. This is get an ad first, I'm pretty sure.
I'm your mother's friend with benefits.
Benefits?
Benefits.
Benefits?
Benefits.
Yeah, benefits.
With the Credit One Bank X5 card,
because many of the black coon service.
Oreo frozen treats, now sized for fun.
Let's face it, most of us aren't going to set foot on Mars.
I'm on Mars! It's freezing. I'm going to go back.
Time. Because my stance, my...
All right.
So I was wrong. Oh my goodness. So I am man enough to admit when I'm wrong, and I am wrong. The video footage of Karmelo Anthony and the event has come out, and it's clear as day that I was 100% wrong. Damn. And what I was wrong about is my belief in hoping that upon the facts and evidence upon this video footage being released, that these wicked and demonic people would change their minds. And sure enough, they haven't. Got it. The lineage of evil is still on evilin, because it's clear as day that when you look at this video footage, that anyone saying that, oh, this proves that it was murder, is either incompetent or racist. Those are only 2 options at this moment in time. Because my stance, my position, which I still hold today, is that his defense was incompetent and impotent, or they were in on it together.
Why can't we just say all those things are true, the amazing Lucas? Why can't we just roll with the idea that maybe every example you just gave just may be true? Just may be true. I haven't heard too many of these racists retract their ideology of Karmelo being a guilty party. And this tells you that they're just dissatisfied because there was a white life taken rather than a black life taken. Okay. And that just don't sit well with the lineage of evil in this country. Do you agree, amazing Lucas? Let's see what you think, brother. Really interested in knowing what you think.
They very much threw him under the bus because they wanted a guilty verdict. That's what it was. And there are other attorneys who have admitted such when it comes to, hey, he should have rebutted this when the prosecution was saying this, that the defense was just sleeping. When it comes to the video footage proves everything that I have been saying, proves everything that, that other people have been saying, which is who is the aggressor? Austin Metcalf. We see this in the video footage. It is, I don't know what to tell you. It is what it is. Now you can try and play mental gymnastics and say, oh, he wasn't aggressive, but he clear as day was.
I think it's safe to say that we all knew that Austin and his brother were bullies by now. They had a very bad reputation amongst other people, even cheerleaders from other schools and the sports programs in those schools, those coaches. It's safe to say that we all knew that these boys were aggressive, and that they were degenerates. We can listen to their father speak and tell exactly where they get the genetics from. Okay. We watched the father lie. We watched the mother lie. We watched Hunter Metcalf lie how many times and still didn't take the stand on his own brother's account. If you really were holding your brother as he gave up the ghost, where was the blood, homie? Where was the blood on you? And why were you on camera chasing Karmelo when you said that your brother passed away, in your arms? Oh, they just wanted white America to be all just emotional and sensitive. Oh my God, his twin brother passed away in his arms. What a tragedy. Oh my God. Another white lie. Another white lie. I refuse to mourn someone who played Russian roulette with their own life. When all you had to do was leave someone alone. The video footage shows everything. I don't know how they had grainy footage in that courtroom. I don't know how. Well, now I know why they picked an all non-black jury, because they wanted to make sure that they were going to get a conviction. They knew that that video, and I told y'all, they had access to this video. Now, the only reason they didn't put this video out, and I kept telling y'all, is because it doesn't show Austin in a good light, and it shows relevance to Karmelo's defense. Had they shown this video during his trial, Karmelo would have got off. Karmelo never did anything wrong. Never did anything wrong, ladies and gentlemen. Never. But, you know, there's a lineage of people in this country and throughout this world who just refuse to leave well enough alone and leave others alone. So when these people, you know, meet their karma, meet their fate, now the whole world seems to be unhappy and everyone's indignant of the outcome of someone losing their life. I can't go on here and say rest in peace to Austin. No, I can tell him that he should have been smarter, knowing that he had a 3.9 GPA average. But, you know, play stupid games, win stupid prizes, and may he rest in peace.
Karmelo Anthony was sitting with these people for quite some time. The only time that any type of disruption erupts was the existence of Austin Metcalf. Karmelo Anthony didn't, poke anybody during that time that he was called over there to sit down under the canopy. Nothing happened. There was no fights. Everybody was chilling and sitting down and talking. That's what it showed. Now, it was only until Austin Metcalf got over there that an issue started to arise, and then put hands on him, and then he got poked and he's no longer here. Karmelo Anthony runs.
Every time the lineage of evil comes around, evil takes place. Anytime these culture of people, not all of them, just the lineage of evil, okay, the racist crew, the racist demographic of these people, not all, okay, but anytime they come around, there's a problem. You can see here, there's a red arrow pointing to where these young teenagers are underneath the tent. All right. You see at least 3 people shoving Karmelo back and forth, back and forth.
To the coach. Coach brings him back and mums a word. Even in the second video, we hear Karmelo Anthony crying, right? He's crying. I told him, not to put his hands on me.
Do you struggle launching your irons high enough? Well, the brand new Tacoma 101 Mark II irons can help with that. We've moved the center of gravity.
Memorial tent over there, guys. All right.
He put his hands on me. I told him not to. He put his hands on me.
He's asking, hey, is he going to be all right? Officer says he doesn't know. Now, if you want to believe that that's the headspace, that's the mindset of a rabid, killer, you can go ahead and believe that. But once again, that falls into 2 camps of thought. Either you're a racist or you're ignorant. That's it. Those are only 2 options. And in many of these...
And 2 things can be true, Lucas. 2 things can be true. Because based on our experience with these people throughout their existence, this has been true. This has been true. There's more harsher things that we could have said to describe these individuals, but I think they get the gist of it. I think they get the gist of it. This video changes everything, man. When I saw this video footage, I thought, oh my God, they done sent this young man to prison for 35 years, humiliated him, defamated his character, and desecrated on his integrity and his reputation right there in that courtroom, denying him a jury of his peers. All right. Had an ineffective counsel for a defense attorney. Like, damn, they bamboozled this young man. Damn, they bamboozled this young man. And they know it, but they're proud of the conviction because, y'all, they had to get even for OJ. They had to get even for OJ, and they had to get justice for Austin. Now, how often do we get justice when they unalive us, y'all? We watch these people get immunity. We watch these people get acquitted. We watch them say, well, you should have complied and you wouldn't have died. They come up with all type of things to say. But when we are totally innocent, when we are just minding our business, these people have a reputation for showing up. And when they show up, things happen, things get out of hand. You know, things get out of hand. It's just the truth, y'all.
These videos and many of the people doing, videos on this footage, that's really what it boils down to. You have a lot of white ignorance, and then you have a lot of Sambo soldiers. There's nothing we can do about that, because we know if the roles were reversed, we already know what would have happened. We already know that they would be blaming the black kid. Oh, why did he just, get someone else? Why did he even, attack this, poor little white kid? We already know that would happen. Why do we know this? Because we have a history.
And let me say this to all the Stevens on Django out there, to Raccoon Nation. All right. What do you have to say now? You're black and you spoke against this brother without knowing. You just knew he was guilty. Oh my God, he took another white teen's life. We can't have this. Black thugs. Oh, black thugs, black on black crime. 1350, 1355, 1358. F it, 1360. Yeah, knowing that you are 69% of all crimes committed in this country. Can someone tell me why Hunter hasn't been locked up? This video shows Hunter also shoving Karmelo. Why wasn't Hunter charged? Why wasn't Hunter called to the stand? And I'm going to reiterate, Karmelo never took a weapon to school. No. See, now the truth comes out. That weapon belonged to one of the twins who dropped it, and Karmelo picked it up. How do we know this? Because on the other side of that utility tool that they're not showing you, the poker, it has one of the twins' initials on the other side, y'all. That is how cynical and diabolical these people are, y'all. These are the games that they play. As you come in, please hit the like button, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Father's Day to all fathers across the world. You know what I mean? We working this morning. We are working. Let's get it.
Of this behavior. And I'm pretty good at pattern recognition, okay? The same people who are trying to justify Austin Metcalf pushing Karmelo Anthony are the same people who validated Daniel Penny. Daniel Penny, who snuffed the life of a black man who put no hands on anybody. He put no hands on not one person in that subway, and his life was taken from him. And what does he get as a reward? He gets to go to the White House and takes a picture with J.D. Vance and President Trump. All these people celebrating it. What are we talking about? We have the same people who had no problem with Shiloh.
Yeah, Shiloh Hendricks, correct.
Shiloh Hendricks calling a black child an N-word and then raising nearly $1 million off it. Damn. All these people celebrating. We have most recently Chud the Builder. All these people who are vilifying, black people who said that they may put hands on this person. What are they saying? Hey, you're going to put hands on someone over words? Is that where you're going to?
And that is the picture that they're painting in this country. It's okay for them to afflict everyone else, but it's not okay for everyone else to stand their grounds against these thugs, y'all, against these white brutes, these white racists. YouTube is going to continue to shadow ban truth tellers, black truth tellers, like myself, because they don't want the truth getting out. They're not happy that we're talking about their culture this way, but facts are facts. So whether I get the message out to 20 people, 200 people, or 2,000, hey, the important thing is that the message is getting out, and we're going to keep this tempo. Okay. We're going to keep this tempo. We're definitely going to keep this momentum going, because we are tired. We are tired. We are exhausted. We are suffering from white fatigue. Even white folks are suffering from white fatigue in this country, ladies and gentlemen. I could pull up multiple videos where you have white people talking against these same white races. Against these same white races, y'all. Even white folks are tired of white people. Even good white folks are tired, man, of these race soldiers and these Sambos. It's not right. It's not right. I mean, it doesn't take anyone looking through the eyes, you know, of Stevie Wonder to know that this was wrong. You can hear it and know that it's wrong. All right, let's get back to it, y'all. For some reason, we cannot defend ourselves in this country.
All these same people who were championing Chud the Builder are now vilifying who? Karmelo Anthony.
Thank you.
These people are hypocrites, okay? There's no video footage that'll come out. There's no argument that can be presented to them if they're ignorant, right? If they're low IQ, or B, if they're a racist.
You can't fix stupid.
Now, at the end of the day, I have no dog in this fight. So I could look at this case and I could be impartial to it. It was like, I don't know Karmelo, I don't know Austin. And I can only just look at the facts and evidence. Now, people can say, hey, it wasn't self-defense.
Now, I can do that too. I don't know Karmelo and I don't know Austin, but I know Austin was a bully. Okay. I know Austin deserved exactly what he got. I know Austin was the aggressor. All right. I know Karmelo was doing nothing wrong. I know Karmelo was called under that tent. I know you can even find bad school transcripts on Karmelo. Not even a fight he's had in school, ladies and gentlemen. Normally they demonize us. They pass around our mug shots and our record to make it look like we deserve this injustice that we received, like we were just a piece of crap and didn't deserve to be here. They couldn't find none of this on the brother and still convicted this young man. You know why? Because A, Austin was white, and B, this is the perfect time to use that 13th Amendment so that they can put another slave in prison and get those long, extensive, hard work hours and that sweat out of this brother. Oh yeah, you're a slave in prison. No doubt about it. You are a slave in the jail system, in the prison system. Make no doubt about it. Slavery never died in this country. They just built institutions and called them prisons to ship you to in order to enslave you legally. Check your 13th Amendment, ladies and gentlemen. Check that 13th Amendment.
Sure, you can say that. But I very much believe that there is a good case for self-defense. All I wanted was for that case to be presented to the jury, which it wasn't. Damn. But anyone acting like this is the nail in the coffin for their racist, prejudiced take on Karmelo Anthony, I mean, that's what it is. They're either low IQ or they're racist. As simple as that. Because at the end of the day, this video footage really doesn't prove anything. At the end of the day, it doesn't prove, I would argue, it doesn't prove self-defense and it doesn't prove murder. At bare minimum, you can honestly say, due to Austin no longer being here.
Will Medicare pay for your new bathroom? This benefit is being kept from our senior population, but every senior homeowner has the right to know that it exists. If you're a senior homeowner, you're entitled to a brand new
manslaughter. That's what I was thinking, manslaughter. If both prosecution and defense were manslaughter at the end of the day, because there's no way you can say, oh, look, see, it proves it. No, it doesn't. It's very blurry. It's very grainy. You have the testimony of these kids who were inconsistent, something that the prosecution themselves even admitted to. So it really would have boiled down to who had the better narrative. That's it. Who had a better narrative?
I disagree with that. I definitely disagree with that. Lucas, you do have the ability to call some things out wrong, although you're very brilliant. I like what you did on Piers Morgan Uncensored. But brother, you starting to get a little coonery in you too. If you don't see those three thugs pushing Karmelo underneath that tent, something's wrong. If you didn't watch those four thugs walk up to Karmelo, who was just sitting there for over 9 minutes, minding his own business, something is wrong. This is not manslaughter at best. This is self-defense. He should have been acquitted. Why is that so hard to believe when we just watched this happen to Rick Chow? We watched it happen to George Zimmerman. But at best, when it comes to a brother defending himself, Now, at best, it's supposed to be manslaughter. No, call it for what it is. Austin was a dumbass that should have kept his hands to himself. That's why his dumbass is no longer here. Karmelo was standing his ground, which is legal in his state, and he was defending himself. Okay, that is 3 people shoving him. That is not one-on-one. Those other 2 people would be deemed weapons under Texas law. That's right, which means that Karmelo had the right to meet that force with any amount of force it took for him to survive, y'all. Look up Texas law. When you're jumping someone one-on-one, okay, that's regular self-defense, this and that. When you are getting jumped by someone, there's multiple people. Yes, those people are looked at as weapons, which gives Karmelo the right to pick up the weapon that belonged to the twins and use it to defend himself, ladies and gentlemen. So, Lucas, I disagree.
Who had a better argument? Who had the more convincing argument to sway the jury? And at the end of the day, it was the prosecution. You had people who were going to the courthouse, watching the trial, and saying that. They were saying, prosecution is really on it. Prosecution is really on it. The defense is not really doing anything. Now we see why the jury came to that conclusion. We just had Rick Chow. Now, the case seemed to be open and shut. He shot somebody in the back, that's donezo, game over, right? But because the because the defense was so good at his job, what happens? They gave reasonable doubt to a jury. Rick Chow gets free. So at the end of the day, anyone who has an IQ above room temperature, any attorney who's competent and good at their job will tell you that really the facts and the evidence don't matter. What matters is how you use those facts and evidence to either defend your case or attack your opponents. Because you can look at a video and give a different context, and another person can look at a video and give a different context. You can look at the facts and evidence and see a completely different picture than someone else. And that's where we get into why it's so important to have good legal representation.
I think what's bothering me about Lucas' video is he still can't come out and say that Austin was wrong. He still hasn't come out and said that Karmelo has a right to defend himself. And I wonder what the amazing Lucas would do if he was being shoved by 3 or 4 different, race soldiers. I wonder what he would do if these people towered over him and they were picking on him. See, it's easy to say that someone's wrong when you're never put in that position. When you're put in these positions and you have to survive, sometimes doing the wrong thing is the right thing, because the only thing that you have to do in that situation is survive. My mom always told me, no matter what, you better make it home alive. If someone's bothering you, hey, you better make it home alive. Your job is to protect you. They're out trying to hurt you. So why do you care about hurting them to save you? If they cared for themselves and their own well-being, they wouldn't be messing with you in the first place.
But when we look at the flip side of this, we come to the Sambo soldiers. Now, what makes the Sambo soldiers so heinous is that they're not seeking truth. They're seeking to be anti-Black. That's what you have to understand. And I won't even say that it's pro-white in some cases, because at some point in time, I used to believe that, hey, they were just, they were just, tap dancing for white people. Now, many of them are, but at the end of the day, what you have to understand, whether they're tap dancing for white people, Asians, whoever it is, who the common denominator is Black people. And they will always be anti-Black. And because of this anti-Black sentiment, they get rewarded for it. And it's easy to see, because when many of them, if you look at them, they're very uneducated and they're usually low IQ.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And they're usually touching on children, and busy committing 69% of all reported crimes in this country. Over 77% of them are being arrested for child. Over 70% of them, lead the way in all S crimes, arrests, and convictions in this country against women and children. You know, we know how devious these people are. The reputation precedes them, more than precedes them. You know, if a person shows you who they are, believe them. And I believe that there's no good, no righteousness, no justice, no soul, no integrity, no decorum in these people. There's no truth in these people. None. And at what point do we call a spade, ladies and gentlemen? Our job is to protect us and to protect our children against this lineage of evil. This lineage of evil, as Lucas would put it, y'all. So whether you're in the wrong for defending yourself or in the right, you know what's necessary in this country? Defending yourself against these people. They're going to find everything you do to be wrong simply because you're black. There is no wrong. There is no right and there is no justice for anyone black in this country. But I can tell you as a black person, homie, every time we stand up to one of y'all, or every time one of you guys lose your lives for effing with us, whether we are doing time or not, that is a justice and a win for the black community, because at least we are one race soldier short of a whole crew now. There is one resting in piss. One less that we have to worry about. Let's see Hunter get out here and be that white thug and that white bully now. You know, him and his dad might team up. Who knows? You know, but Hunter is responsible allegedly for his brother's death. Hunter started the whole entire altercation. And what does Austin do? Come running to his brother's rescue instead of straightening his brother. Instead of straightening his brother. What happened to being your brother's keeper? What happened to brotherly love? Is that so far gone in this country too? Is that too far gone? What happened to keep your hands to yourself?
Usually inarticulate, or there's some type of handicap that they have. And, you know, there's a racist base of people in this country that like to see that. They like to see, you know, a circus. they like to see the freaks at the circus and stuff like that. This is a common pastime of this lineage of evil. So when they get like a tantrum, or when they get a conservative perspective, or when they get these people, it's very much watching, like, oh, good job. This is awesome. This is really cool to see this. So when we look at, I think the Cartier family, it seems that they're doing like a Three Stooges type of thing. And what do they try to make it? They try to downplay, racism in this country. Oh, you think the white man can do all of this? Is that what you're saying? You think the white man can do all of this?
I told y'all. They really, they really believe that the white man.
No, I seen a video.
You know what that means, though, guys? That they saying that white people in America got so much supremacy and so much power that a regular guy, hardworking guy like Jeff Metcalf could just go in the courtroom and read the courtroom for his white son and his white family.
These guys here are a disgrace. I don't know how these Sambos live with themselves. We should have them canceled next, y'all. Young conservative grifters, young anti-black people, y'all. Does that make any sense? I stopped listening to the Cartier family a long time ago. These guys here talk more bad. Okay, you take them, the Hodge twins, Jesse Lee Peterson, these people, Brandon Tatum, these people talk so bad about their own people. It's like they forget they're black. Maybe they were raised around white people. Maybe they were adopted. Maybe they sleep white. I don't know. Or maybe they just hate the black skin that they're in. I don't know. But I don't even hear white people talking against their own race the way I hear these Sambo soldiers right here. Lucas, I had to borrow your term. But the way I hear these Sambo soldiers talking about their own race, y'all, this is a disgrace. And you know what? The white conservative feeds off of this, because now they have a black face saying the things to black society that their white face couldn't say. So they're going to back this, y'all. They're going to back this. If slavery started again today, these guys would cry their way right in the house.
Family
for the wet white jury.
Yeah, so he can prove that his son wasn't innocent, so he can just send this black away for the rest of his life.
I think that's ridiculous.
I miss you like a hog miss fly, like a baby. Miss man, miss titty.
Now, in cases like this, you don't take the three.
There you go. Steven off of Django. These Stevens on Django. There you go. That's exactly who Brandon Tatum is. Jesse Lee Peterson, the Hodge twins, the Cartier family. Yeah, those would be your Stevens off of Django. Wake up black, walk black, look black, is black, but don't believe they're black. Don't believe they're black until white society reminds them that they are black. All right, Storm, I need you to call me when you get a chance, sweetheart. Got some very important information to share with you.
Three Stooges seriously, right? You have to acknowledge that the Three Stooges are doing what the Three Stooges do, right? They're not very, highly intelligent based off of their analysis of this case and constantly talking about, oh, the black people, bro, they just think the white man is doing all of this. That's not like some, high IQ take analysis of the country and its relationship with Black America. Like, there's nothing there. It's very superficial drivel.
But Brondo's got what plants crave.
It's got electrolytes.
And that's what they get paid to put out, because it has nothing to do with what the white man is in control of and what the white man can do, or whether or not you get to get poked upon pushing somebody. None of those are actual valid arguments. No one with an IQ of room temperature is saying upon you pushing someone, you should get poked. No one's saying that. What we are saying.
I'm saying that. I'm saying when play stupid games, win stupid prizes. I don't care what the law say. You can't dictate the amount of force that someone is going to meet you with once you are violating them and putting your hands on them. That's a fallacy. Oh, well, I pushed you and you should only push me back. No, that's not how that works. You don't get to dictate the amount of force that I return to you. That's not how that works. That is wishful thinking. That is wishful thinking. If you put your hands on me against my will and my permission, I don't care if it's just a shove. You deserve the grave you're in. You should have kept your hands to yourself. You should have kept your hands to yourself. Why do we have to return equal force when this country can't even return an equal justice? We're expected to return equal force, but this country has never returned or extended equal justice. Any type of gratification for Black people. Like I said, this is a fallacy, ladies and gentlemen. It's a fallacy.
And is A, you should keep your hands to yourself. And B, you are not in charge of how someone else responds. You may not like how this person responds. You may think it's wrong, but we have to look into the eyes of this person. And when it comes to Karmelo, I've already gone through a lot of factors that weren't even brought up in case. The size discrepancy, right? Austin Metcalf's 6'1", over 200 pounds. Karmelo Anthony, 5'7" or so, under 140, soaking wet. Karmelo Anthony's sitting. Austin Metcalf is standing. That means he's towering over him. Another factor when they come to, it was in the chest. There is nothing in that.
Okay, well, I got to give it to Lucas. He seems to be non-biased here, but at least he's starting to speak up for Karmelo. I've been wondering because Lucas has been speaking against Karmelo ever since this has happened. And I was waiting to see how he was going to recant his statements or if he was going to come out and actually admit that he was wrong. It sounds like he's partially doing so. So I'm going to give Lucas the credit he deserves on this one. Not that he would give a darn about my credit, but I'm just saying.
That video or anything proved in court that said it was intentionally lunged into the chest. There's nothing there, right? This is all them. This is once again their bias. This is their prejudice.
Grand Rising King Fire, and happy Father's Day to all. Happy Father's Day to all Grand Rising Kings and Uncut Squad. You got it, King Fire. You got it.
Coming out. But to act like someone who's coming off a shoulder injury, who has epilepsy, who is clearly nonviolent in this situation, who was clearly aggressed by Austin Metcalf, sitting down, not causing anything, didn't have any problems prior to Austin Metcalf, to act like he's some cold-blooded murderer is ludicrous. Unless, once again, you're low IQ or you're just racist, right? You hate black people.
That's true. That's true.
But to act like there is no way in God's green earth that he ever could feel that his body would possibly be in serious injury from the 6'1" linebacker is, I mean, come on now.
Okay, Lucas. Okay, Lucas is covering some good points here. He's bouncing back. Started out a little shaky, but he's bouncing back. Okay, let's go.
You got to be honest, but they can't be honest because they're too busy tap dancing. Beta. Another person we have who's nothing more than a bucket of stupid is Tantrum. He loves, in this clip, criticizing black women and their hair and everything, but he never brings, a cogent argument. There is no cogent rebuttal. And you'll see this time and time again throughout this pattern. Because
this guy, who also sleeps white and marries white and has mixed kids, has nothing good to say about black people. That's right. The officer Brandon Tatum. All right. He's the only black member of the KKK. Talk about DEI. Talk about affirmative action. Yeah, I think Officer Brandon Tatum, is the only black nominee that they would actually let inside of the KKK, y'all. And I think he would do a fine job on behalf of those angry white men who wear those cone hats and those sheets. I think he would do an exceptional job. He'd be the Grand Wizard within 90 days. The KKK would have a black Grand Wizard if they just actually gave Brandon Tatum a chance, ladies and gentlemen. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. And then he could recruit the Cartier family. He could recruit Jesse Lee Peterson. He could recruit the Haas twins. Yeah. Everybody want to be all inclusive. Y'all want to be white. I mean, go put on the cone hats, man. See if they let you in. Apply for a job with the KKK. You know what I'm saying?
Because many of the black conservatives out there, they're very low IQ. So they can't analyze a situation and give a cogent argument. They can't give a rebuttal, right? So what they do is they try to play on stereotypes. They try to play on talking points that they know is familiar with their white ignorant base.
But Brondo's got what plants crave.
It's got electrolytes.
There is no thinking going on with many of these people. It's just regurgitation. That's what they are, nothing more than NPCs. Because
that is so true. Do you know how many of these people regurgitate Charlie Kirk talking points and never look it up to do the research? These people are so easy to debunk. It is just like, it's like taking candy from a baby. And they don't realize that they're regurgitating inflamed talking points. Inflamed talking points. They're not true. The statistics are inflated. But they don't know that. They don't know that. These people just repeat what they hear. I don't think they have the ability to read. I don't think they have the ability to comprehend. And I don't think they have the ability to be civil and or sophisticated.
Because they don't have the IQ to really formulate a thought of their own. That's why they go and regress and say, well, black people aren't a monolith. Well, I'm a free thinker. Those are white talking points, that has been handed down to these people to be mouthpieces. That's it. So you have Tantrum talking about, there is no videos and everything. And, you just came up with it off the top of your head?
You know, a picture at a party they having a time. There is an alleged post from Austin, you know, from, of course, before he passed, that, you know, he had 2 assault rifles on his, you know, resting on himself in the car.
I want y'all to look at the raccoon Officer Tatum. As she's pleading Karmelo's case, look at the future Grand Wizard, the future Black Grand Wizard of the KKK right here, ladies and gentlemen. Look at this sinister smile on his face. Look at this. Look at this. If blackface had a face, it'd be this face. This guy is a double stuffed Oreo. A double stuffed Oreo. He's got a s'mores type mentality, y'all.
Car saying that I dare one of the monkeys to come to this track meet today. But
Time
this
out. They maybe it's that hair dye in her head, trying to be like white people. Your hair is not blonde, woman, and that dye seeking through and getting your brain messed up.
What?
Where you see a video of Karmelo, of Austin Metcalf saying with an AR-15 saying, "I want monkeys to come to the track meet." Where you get that at? You just made that up, sis, because y'all ain't got no facts on your side. You made it up.
Here's the funny part. First off, listening skills. She never said video, she said picture. So that's strike one. Secondly, there is a picture of what she's talking about, describing Austin Metcalf and saying, oh.
Right there. Right there. Right there. So why do we trust slimes like the officer Brandon Tatum? Good job on this one, Lucas. Good job on this one. All right. But right here, ladies and gentlemen, Austin Metcalf, I dare one of those monkeys to show up to the track meet today. I wonder if he looks at Karmelo Anthony as a monkey. I wonder if that's why he approached Karmelo Anthony, you know, to begin with. But here it is right here. Here it is right here. But no, the officer Brandon Tatum, these Oreos, these Dalmatians, y'all, they're paid to be conservative grifters. These tethers are paid, y'all. Wow, unbelievable. Dude tripping. These the dudes that's turning and selling their own to the world. Exactly. Exactly. So as we can see right here, Austin Metcalf was a racist just like his father, Jeff Metcalf. All right. Now, we had a problem when Chud the Builder was saying this stuff, right? It was a problem. Ooh, ee, ah, ah, chipping out monkeys, right? But look what Austin says right here. And I'm supposed to feel sorry that this piece of shit is no longer with us. I'm supposed to feel sorry that this piece. Why didn't you take your dad and your brother and your mother with you? Allegedly. Like I told y'all, we should be celebrating because the world has just got rid of another white radical racist, y'all. We should be celebrating. We should be popping cold ones. We should be knocking back bottles of Hennessy. We should be smoking mad flowers instead of giving flowers to these race soldiers, y'all.
You monkeys and everything. That's the second thing. The third thing is the picture was actually shown to be a fake. So the one time in his life that he actually has a layup, right? A layup in his hand, talking about, hey, she doesn't know what she's talking about. That's shown to be a fake. This is why misinformation is so dangerous. He doesn't even do it. What does he do? He mocks her and then tries to dismiss it, even though he's completely ignorant of what she's referring to. Goofiness.
I miss you like a hog miss fly.
And then lastly, we have Black conservative perspective.
Nature's miracle. Permanently eliminate tough odors and stains at the source.
In 1954, my granddad, James Avery, started designing jewelry in the Texas Hill Country.
Conservative perspective. Now, for whatever.
Listen, these people are never going to see their own flaws. They're never going to see the embedded racism that's just It's just solidified in their DNA, man. It's validated. It's there. It's there. They're never going to look at it. They can do no wrong. They're never wrong. You know, we're wrong because we're black. You know, we're wrong because we're black. I think they were wrong for coming here to begin with. I think they were wrong for coming here to begin with. We're never going to get any justice. They're never going to see their own flaws, y'all. So that's why I tell you, we have to continue to hold a mirrored reflection up in front of these people's face to show them who they are, for them to get a live and actual reasonable indication of their decorum, ladies and gentlemen.
For reason, he seems to, take a fancy to me. I don't know. He seems to like me or whatever. But he's trying to convince his audience that I believe that I'm more intelligent than I am. But in doing so, he shows how low IQ he actually is.
It's like watching zoo animals, right?
I miss you like a hog miss flop.
One of these individuals, I think, is a great example of somebody who believes that they're a lot smarter than they actually are. And I think that one of the best signs of intelligence is somebody who really understands how smart they are, right? They understand, okay, I'm of average intelligence.
I'm back today to talk to you about how to correct a lisp.
I'm not the smartest, right? I'm not dumb, but I'm also not the smartest. That actually.
Okay, so I think we're on from this. All right. Gonna be moving on from this. Now, all right, welcome in, Gospel Samuel. Now, and happy Father's Day to you, by the way, if you're a father. Now we get into Keisha, and we're gonna get into the politics and the dynamics of this case, y'all. And you know, Keisha, she goes the extra route, just like Nick at Night and other women who've been on this, covering this very well. She's gonna bring forth witnesses. She's gonna bring forth people who were actually there. All right. She is doing the work. She is breaking this down, ladies and gentlemen. She's one of the only people I trust on the internet and getting this information from. You know, she's been very informative and she's been putting in the work. I am going to take a small break here. Let's pull up Keisha.
The next generation of irons is here. TacomaGolf.com.
All right, guys, we're going to get started.
All right. And before we get into this, y'all, everyone go subscribe to Keisha and Keisha TV. Okay. You can see the name here on the screen, Keisha, as well as Keisha TV. All right. She's been covering this hard, ladies and gentlemen. And we've been getting the truth thanks to people like Keisha, who is diligently out here doing, grappling with resources. Excuse me, y'all. Let's get into it. Fair use, educational purposes, commentary purposes, literary purposes, all of that. Okay, let's go.
started. Okay, so didn't even do the intro because I want to jump right into it. Dwayne is going to join us very shortly. Of course, he's going to get into the video, right? So while we wait for Dwayne to join, I want to show you guys a video that I found. So this was another video that I was able to find online. And if you zoom in, wait, let me just stop it right there. Do y'all see that? You see people were hitting him. I'm not understanding what really happened right here. This kid was jumped. I mean, you have to zoom in to be able to see it, but he definitely was jumped. Now, Dwayne is going to come on. If you guys recall, he's the guy that I had on my show, and he talked about seeing the video. I want him to walk us through what we're actually seeing. If you guys recall, or if you were here yesterday, I had called him on the phone because I'm like, what is this we're seeing? Is this the actual video? And he said, absolutely not. That is the grainy video. So this is not the actual video. But if you actually zoom in, it's not clear, but it lets you know that they jumped him. They jumped him. Clearly, they jumped him. You guys can see, like, we can't see close up what they're doing, but it is a tussle. It is a fight. They made it seem like he crazy and he just wouldn't get up out of his seat. This is a lie. They lied on him. And I believe the reason why he ended up in the back, because they hit him and he fell out of the back. Because how did he get out of the back? So you guys will see him fall out of the back. And we're going to get into the interviews after the.
Now, of course, this is all speculation at this point, but we have no reason not to believe this. And we don't know what's right or what's wrong. We just know that these people are lying. We just know that these people are lying. You're going to see Karmelo get pushed right here in this red circle by at least 3 people. He's going to be pushed back, forward, back again, and then he's going to come out the back up here if you can follow the arrow. Okay. I was watching this all day yesterday, but I was too disturbed to talk about it. Okay, so I'm going to talk about it today. I'm going to talk about it today, regardless of the viewers. You know, it's more important just to get the message out. People can always go back to this live stream later on, use it for a reference, share it, hype it, whatever. Just, you know, please like it as you come in at least. Please hit the like button. Okay, we're doing work. We're doing work. And yes, we do have to rally around Mr. Anthony, because we already know that these racists are going to rally around themselves, and they are going to leave us stuck and hanging, for a better sense of words, not hanging as in from a tree, just hanging on information, hanging on a limb, wondering what happened and when are we going to get viable information? When are we going to get equality in the information that we receive? J Dub, what's good? Happy Father's Day to you. My man say definitely hit that like button. Ladies and gentlemen, you know what I mean? I got the best tribe in the world. You know, hit that like button, ladies and gentlemen. You can become a moderator too, but you got to put that work in. Let's go.
Dwayne. Okay, so Dwayne is here. So I'm going to stop this and hey, Dwayne.
Hey, how you doing? Let me put my headset on.
Okay. So what I want to do is, and they love you over here, by the way. So I don't know what them folks online talking about, but they wanted you to come back on because obviously the video was released. And I said from when I saw the video that this could not be the video that is clearer, because from me seeing it, it looks like something is going on, but I had to zoom in. I also found other videos where
look how clear this footage is, ladies and gentlemen, versus the footage that they're giving us. and the footage, the grainy footage that they showed to those in the courtroom during the trial. Look how clear this is. You know, the concrete's wet, so we know it's raining. You're going to see people walking by holding umbrellas. You can see it in the back right here. They're holding umbrellas. Okay, they wouldn't even admit that it was raining that day during the Karmelo Anthony trial, y'all. They wouldn't even admit that it was raining that day, and that's why Karmelo had ducked up under the tent, because his buddy Eddie called him. You're going to see video footage of Karmelo walking by with gray sweats on. He's going to pass multiple tents, okay? His buddy Eddie is going to call him under that school tent, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to see it. You're going to see it. This is Lakeisha Keisha. She does not hold back. And Ticket TV also has this footage as well. So if you're looking for any platform that's showing it, there's lots of platforms. If you're looking for a trustworthy platform, I would only recommend Ticket TV and Lakeisha Keisha, Neek at Night, those type of people. Okay, those type of people. But let's go, y'all. But already we can see how clear this footage is. You can see that it is wet out here. You see the umbrellas they're holding in the background, ladies and gentlemen. And this is why Karmelo slipped when he ran. This is why Karmelo slipped when he ran. Oh, we're going to break this thing down, y'all. I've been waiting on this footage for a long time. A long time.
They zoomed in, and one, let me just show you this one right here, because I want you to be able to see it. You see that video right here? They actually circle where the commotion is going on. But even then, you can tell that it was a fight. Like, it was not a situation where they were saying that, you know, okay, we asked him to get up. That is a lie. I mean, just looking at that, you know that something happened. And also you can tell that it seems like either he was pushed out of the back with some kind of force. Even when he finally ran into the officer, parts of this video is not accurate, because you see him running to get away, and then you see him stop running. So
they doctor the videos. They doctor the videos. Ladies and gentlemen, we saw the same thing occur with the camera footage, the body worn camera footage of what took place with excuse me, ladies. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. With what took place with Ryan Hinton, the son of Rodney Hinton Jr. Okay, they showed us a still shot that was mangled and grainy and tried to convince us that he was taking a bladed stance and pointing a weapon at an officer in between those dumpsters. We never saw that. We never saw that. They showed us still shots of him falling down. You know, we never saw that till this day, ladies and gentlemen. So they're trying the same tactics again. But you better believe, if this was black on black crime, they're going to show you everything. You're going to have that footage. They showed you YSL, right? Then they show you Julio Fulio. Didn't they show all of these other things? But yet, when it comes to this injustice, and it's a white bully getting the fate that he should have gotten, oh no, we can't show this to America because we don't want to give black people the blueprint that they can do this to us, you know, based on the things that we have always done to them. It's like the 10 Commandments. Here, take this list, and here's what you better not do to us, although we've done it to you multiple times. Same scenario. Same scenario.
This video is highly edited. I don't know, you know, what part of it is edited, but it's not cohesive. Like, it looks like something is not all the way correct. And also we can tell that it's edited because there's no timestamps. It's not the original video. And I'm wondering, like, you know, why did they, well, I know it seems like they just gave us this video to shut us up. But if you can walk us through what we're seeing on the screen, I'm just going to play it and just turn the volume down.
Okay. What we're seeing here is actually a different camera angle. These are 3 different cameras. And
so they must not have gotten to these cameras to doctor this footage. Look how clear this footage is. And think about the footage they just showed us underneath the tent. Now, why is this footage clear And it comes from the same cameras at that facility, that community. You know, these cameras are clear, but the cameras that's pointing directly at the bleachers, they're altered, they're grainy. Correct, King Fire. They doctored the videos. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. But let's get into it, y'all. Fair use, educational purposes. Y'all know I have to start this every now and then and add my own commentary just for YouTube, fair use clauses and things like that. So don't get offended that I'm doing lots of talking, ladies and gentlemen.
So this camera right here is one that they never showed anybody. And this is the boys, the twins, and their friends walking through the gate. So you see either Hunter walking with the first group and Austin with the second, or they said Austin with the first group and Hunter with the second guy. And that's them walking over. This is another camera angle. This is from the 40-yard line on the left side or the south side of the stadium. They didn't show this either to the people that did the PRI request into Frisco ISD. This is a separate camera. This is Karmelo actually walking up before any of this happened. And this is where from testimony you hear them saying EP.
That's that moment. It's not. It's actually several different videos
together to give that moment.
Okay.
This angle here is several kids.
Now look at how unclear this footage is, y'all. Look at the detail we just saw on the other camera. And look at this detail. Regardless of how far away that camera is, you can zoom in on those cameras, ladies and gentlemen. You can zoom in. Why is this footage right here? Why is this footage right here so grainy and so choppy? So grainy and so choppy, ladies and gentlemen. That is what I want to know. And it's almost like they didn't care about the other cameras because the other cameras didn't catch these events that took place underneath this tent. So they were trying to protect Austin. They were trying to protect Hunter. Okay? If you ask me, you know, that school should be sued, y'all. That school should be sued.
Don't want to cut you off, but I'm glad that you said that it's several different angles, because when I'm watching it, I'm like, okay, they walk in. Why come we can't see them walk in and where they actually go? So you see them walk in and now you see this camera cut over. So I know just from watching it that we're missing some stuff. So I'm glad that you said that there's different angles that's being shown, but they're making it seem like it's one video, but it's actually different portions.
Correct. And before you started, this that we're looking at, this is actually the prosecutor's evidence that they submitted into court to put up the proof for their case. And so every time that the case is adjudicated.
So this is the grainy footage that they showed to the non-black jury, y'all. But mind you, there's multiple witnesses. Multiple witnesses has come out and said that they saw the video in 4K and you could see raindrops. And they explained everything that happened in its totality. So why was that video not played at the trial? Because ISD maintained their copy for their protection, all right, and for future litigations if need be. So they told that the local law enforcement that they can come make a copy of the video. So they allowed law enforcement to make their own personal copy of this video. And well, we see the games that law enforcement plays. We've saw this time after time after time, ladies and gentlemen. But let's get into it. We're going to work today. We're going to work today.
Adjudicated, the court gives you a dump of all of the evidence that was put into the case. So that's what we're seeing. This is not anything that was being where we're talking about we're having to fight with Frisco ISD to get the actual footage. This is not that. This is what was going to be released regardless, because this is what every court does after it's available, they release it to the public. And normally your media get it first because they're the ones that's sitting at the courtroom every day waiting for it. And then people like myself that have PIRs or FOIA requests in will receive it as we go and pay for it and get it ourselves as well. But this is all what the prosecution said they were going to mesh together in order to convict Karmelo. So they're basically putting it into a way to where it makes him look guilty in their eyes. And it's up to the defense, who has all of the video, to actually proffer up the reason why that the prosecution is lying, which they did not ever do. And so I just want to make that context to people so they understand that what we're looking for is not any video feed that we're fighting for. It's actually what was going to come out regardless. And this is what was shown in, well, not all shown in court, but this is what the prosecution offered up as evidence and put into the case. And so we're seeing that how they mesh it together. And again, you're looking at 3 to 4 different camera feeds that they mesh together as one.
Why don't this surprise us, ladies and gentlemen? Why aren't we surprised by their egregious acts? Why aren't we surprised about their level of deceit? Why is this nothing surprising to us? We almost expected for them to tell the truth about it. Now that would have been surprising. It would have also been amazing, but it's way out of their characteristical traits. These people aren't honest. These are the same people who reclassify us. These are the same people who steal land. These are the same people who've been unaliving people since the beginning, conquering people, okay? Assuming people's identities, passing racial acts, policies, and laws to take advantage of specific groups of people so that they maintain an advantage economically. These are those vampires, y'all. These are those vampires, y'all. Why would we ever trust a word that they say to us? I keep telling y'all, if these people tell you something, you better doubt it. If they give you Martin Luther King Jr., you better roll with Malcolm X. There's always a hidden agenda with these people. And honesty is not a part of their DNA. Integrity is not a part of their DNA. Morals is not a part of their DNA, ladies and gentlemen. It's not who they are, and it's not who they will ever be. Not all of them, some of them, but a mass majority of them, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, so from what I'm looking at, it looks like a stadium. I don't make out who these people are, but as I watched it multiple times, I started to look at this canopy because I know from all of the people that I have heard speak about this, this is where the action takes place.
And if you could pause it right there right quick before we go further. If you really pay attention from looking at the video that we saw earlier of Karmelo coming out from the steps coming into the stadium and walking over toward where the memorial canopy is that they're not showing, as 2 other canopies that's there to the left of it. So he was walking past that way. There was courtroom testimony that EP.
Okay, so Storm, she says history, her story says this is what they do. Exactly. Exactly. And we ought to be believers in history because that is documented resources and evidence of their misbehaviors, of their frequency, of their negative vibrations, y'all, of their demonic behavior, their antisocial construct. Okay, that's exactly what we are witnessing right now, ladies and gentlemen. So why would we expect anything less from these people? Actually, why would we expect anything more? Why would we expect anything more from these individuals?
Eddie is the one that called them into the canopy. So by this time that this video is running, Karmelo is already up under the canopy with EP. EP has moved. Yeah, EP has moved. And so from that, you would see a lot of movement under that canopy. Remember, Jeff Metcalf himself and Hunter himself both said that Austin And Hunter said he did too, but we'll just go by what Metcalf said, Jeff Metcalf. He said that Austin grabbed the bag and threw it. And in this, you're going to see movement from Karmelo because he was in the middle. You're going to see where he was sitting before, that he was actually moved from one spot and he moved back to the same spot. And people think that's where he walked in, and it's not. It's where those things were taking place that getting his bag back. And as they said in the court, he used a football move, almost like you pick up the football dummy and you're putting it back as a DP or as an offensive lineman or a DB trying to move another person. He put Karmelo back and jacked him back in that spot to where he was. And so that's the movement that you see. So when people say that they're walking up and Karmelo wasn't there, no, Karmelo was already there, and you're seeing the movement based on that.
So are you saying that Austin took his backpack, took Carmelo's backpack?
Yes, and we're just going to go by Hunter Metcalf and Jeff Metcalf's own words. Hunter Metcalf said that he took his bag, and then he said later that his brother aggressively took his bag. That's what he said. Jeff Metcalf stated on his interview, I think with CBS 11 in Dallas, he said that Austin took the bag and threw it, is what he said. And so that fits in with Austin's part because you can see the movement under the canopy and you see other kids moving around as well. But you also see a sea of kids blocking the view of the coaches because they were on purpose on the right-hand side of the canopy standing there and making sure that the view was blocked. And then later on, you'll see a young man by the young girl with the yellow poncho on. He kept looking and you see him bend down looking in. He's bending down looking in because that's where Karmelo was at the time, on the ground, because they had him in there on a chokehold.
Okay. I got a question for you because I know you saw the video at Frisco ISD. I actually went and looked up, I think, is it pronounced Kirkendall Stadium? Is that how it's pronounced?
Something like that, yes.
So I went and looked up that stadium. Those videos are very clear. So when I'm looking at this, I'm like, okay, I understand what the people say when they say they went there and they saw it because it's clear. Because when I go on their website, every video is clear. So because you saw the clear video, and I haven't obviously, what would you say the actual differences? I mean, we can zoom in, but when you saw the video at Frisco, how much clearer was that? Like, what more were you able to make out? Again, we can zoom in it and we can see movement, but when you saw your video at Frisco, what was more clearer to you than us actually watching this video?
Yes, I'll talk about the 11-minute video because that's what everybody that did a PRR request and a FOIA request, that's what they saw. It was actually this same camera. The camera was actually zoomed over just a little bit to your left a little bit more, and it was fixed. And what they did is they actually lowered it down toward the ground a little bit. And so you could actually see a white gentleman and his wife. They were standing there the whole time with he had his hand like this because he was looking at what the boys were doing. And it was actually zoomed in just a little bit more. And so you can see the raindrops even more clearer than you see it here. You can actually see a bird fly by as well. Depending on the device.
Can't trust these people, man. Can't trust these people. How many people see exactly what they're saying? He's pointing out the discrepancies in these videos, ladies and gentlemen. He's pointing them out. How you can see raindrops and birds in one, and then in these other videos, you could barely make out anything. You know, we should see these people over here in high def. We should be able to make out all of this, but we can't because they've doctored it, ladies and gentlemen, and they expect us just to roll with it. This footage right here shows absolutely nothing, and that's what they wanted when they picked a non-black jury, all right, to convict a black man for unaliving a white bully and a white assailant in this country. Look, it shows absolutely nothing. But to Karmelo's point, it does show Karmelo being shoved by at least 3 people. It shows exactly what those witnesses gave accounts of. The witnesses who say they saw the video at ISD. It shows that these 4 people walked up to Karmelo. It shows that Karmelo attempted to flee. All right. I mean, at this point, what more? What more can we say?
That you're looking at it from, which this device they're showing it from, is actually the same monitor that Tiffany Billions actually recorded her part. That the 2-minute video that I put out about her having, that's the part that she recorded from the same monitor. So we're looking at this feed from that clarity, basically. And so, but the clarity that they showed us was from a 55-inch HD TV on the wall. And so the clarity is a little bit clearer. And it's always about the device that you show it on and that you record it from. And so this one is clearer than what other people saw, but it's not as clear as the original footage and also that of the 11-minute video. So what we would see different there is that up under the canopy was a little bit more darker because they did tilt it down trying to keep the identities of the other kids away from people at the time, which I understand and I agree with that moment at the time. Right now, it's not that anymore. But this, you see more than what some of the people saw on the 11-minute video because they edited again as it went further, and they actually zoomed in more and made it a little bit more darker so they could protect people a little bit more as it went in. So the first thing you notice here is that from the one that we saw there at Frisco ISD, they're telling you to look and say, hey, here's the 4 boys coming. So as these guys are coming, she's telling you that these are them. So don't pay attention to the other stuff on the screen because you're going to miss what happens because it happens so quick. So when they walk in, everything is meshed together on that screen. So you're looking at the movement and paying attention to the movement, but you can see that a few of them never sits down. You see.
And they say Karmelo was sitting the whole entire time. They say Karmelo was sitting for 9 minutes out of an 11-minute video. They say he was sitting down through the entire altercation, ladies and gentlemen. Even the witness accounts, okay, on behalf of Austin, said this about Karmelo. Said this about Karmelo. This is sad at this point that this young man's life has been taken away from him. His freedoms and his liberations has been stripped from him. And this young man has done nothing wrong but stand his ground and defend himself. Defend himself. The young man was crying when they arrested him and said, I told him not to touch me. Is he going to be all right? That is not malice. That is not intent. That is not an M1. Rick Shaw was an M1. George Zimmerman was an M1. Daniel Penny was an M1. Kyle Rittenhouse was an M1. But not this, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm not saying that because of the color difference here. I'm saying it due to the actions of other people and how he reacted. Okay? And how Karmelo reacted, ladies and gentlemen. The brother had no choice, but this is the only footage that we have right now.
See the one, which was Austin, that made his way. He turned around, put his foot up. He did all kind of things. But as soon as he walked in, you see him bend over. His bending over was directly toward Karmelo. And that was actually said in court. You also see one of the other kids.
Stop. That's very important. That's key right there. You see one of them bending over to Karmelo, which means that Karmelo was sitting. So these guys are towering over Karmelo, not because he's just 5'8" and they're 6'1", 6'2", but also because Karmelo is sitting. That does not show intent. That does not show Karmelo as the provocateur. Karmelo did not approach anyone. Karmelo did not shove anyone. Karmelo didn't say anything to anyone other than Eddie, and he was on his phone the remainder of the time. There's witness accounts that say this guy was on his phone when they first approached him with this malice, y'all.
on the left actually moving in and going in and out toward Karmelo. That was actually said in court as well, and it's actually on the video. And so all these things are true. People will say it's 3 of them that went there, but it was a 4th on the left. And we kept saying that young person kept going up and down. And so the only difference of this video and the PIR video that most people saw, because some of us saw a little bit different stuff in the beginning, but from the ones that saw that 11-minute video, this right here is just a little bit less clearer than that video, but it shows exactly what happened to a T of what we've been explaining for a year and 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, however long it's been.
Gotcha. Okay, so what I'm hearing, it was just another camera which had a better angle. Is pretty much what I'm hearing.
No, ma'am, it's the same camera, because this is the camera at the 40-yard line. If you look right, actually, this may be the 50-yard line camera, because they have a 50-yard line camera that moves with motion.
Okay.
And so this may be that one, but I think it's the 40-yard line camera that would be on the north or on the right side of the home.
I know, why are these cameras so grainy? King Fire, free Karmelo Anthony. He poked up his bully. 100. Exactly. I agree. Welcome to the United States of America. Yep. And we just watched this happen by the biggest illegal immigrants of America. All right. We just watched this take place, ladies and gentlemen. Thank God there's an appeal process, and a lot of this should help Karmelo. Okay, a lot of it, they say that Karmelo are getting like visits from attorneys like 2-3 times a week, y'all. You know what I mean? 2-3 times a week. And listen, we've just got to show up and show out. And I'm telling y'all, this young man, if this conviction is overturned and this young man is freed, man, I'm going to party like he's my son. I'm going to party like he's my nephew, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to get it in. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, I think we should throw massive block parties everywhere, you know what I mean, to welcome this brother home and to solidify defeating white supremacy. You know what I mean? These people are obviously still mad about OJ. So they were not going to let another opportunity pass. If someone brought up Casey Anthony, I think it was, in the case of Kaylee Anthony, you know, she didn't do any time either. We saw what happened in the Letitia Harling case with the orange juice by Susan Wu. She was convicted, but she did no time either. You know, they've let people off saying that people aren't fit for prison. They're not prison material. Well, Karmelo wasn't prison material either. So why is it okay for those white perpetrators to receive that grace? But Karmelo, who's a 3.7 GPA student, 2 jobs, comes from a good background, has never done anything wrong, this guy receives no grace. No grace. Right. I'm even wondering about the youthful offender program here, but I guess they want to charge him as an adult. They say at 17 you could be charged as an adult in Texas. I'm not too familiar with Texas law. It should be considered tampering, but they're not going to consider it tampering because they're the ones doing it. They make the laws to break the laws. We're the ones that have to obey the laws, or else.
Home side. And that's the one that they showed us the footage from at Frisco ISD. So it would be the same camera footage. They just edited it for the purposes of the prosecution. So they're showing you everything and moving it, because you can move all these cameras. Everything is you can pan it, I think, up to 45 degrees or something like that. Either way, all these camera angles. And so they all are movable.
So my question though, even with looking at it, like the first time I saw it, I looked at it multiple times and then I zoomed in. You can clearly see that it was a fight. So I don't understand what the jury saw. That's why I'm so confused. So even seeing this and even it being in the quality that it's in right now, if you're on a jury, you should be trying to zoom in to see. I did it with my phone. I went on TikTok and found other videos. Obviously, we know the jury can't do that, but I'm saying in court, when they saw this, I'm just trying to figure out what is it that they did not see.
Well, they didn't see this. I can tell you that. They saw bits and pieces from people in the court, and we know this is, 15 minutes long? When they turned the monitor over to the jury to let them see, because they showed snippets to the general public and the counsels and Karmelo and all of them, and then they flipped the monitor around and they showed the jury different pieces, but it was not.
Now, I wonder, just a hunch, why wouldn't they show the jury the entire thing? Why wouldn't they? Because they wanted to make sure that they were going to get a conviction on Karmelo. Do y'all see how quick they moved that young man out to DOC? They were ready for this. They had DOC on standby at that trial the same way you would have a EMS and local law enforcement on trials at like a high school football game or something. They had on ready on standby. Ready on standby. It's like, hey, we're promised we're going to get this conviction. Be here today. You know, it's not right, ladies and gentlemen. It's not right. This brother does not deserve this. This young man does not deserve this, man. And I don't have any pity for Austin's life or his demise, because he shouldn't have came bothering people, man. You forfeit your life. You forfeit your safety. You forfeit your security when you go messing with people, man. You don't know what people know. You don't know what they have on them. You don't know what people are going through. So why extend that type of energy knowing that you can come up on the wrong end of things? I just want to know. I'm just asking questions here. I just want to know. If Austin was here today, I'm pretty sure that Austin would take all of this back. But it's too late there, my dear Austin.
Not 15 minutes long. And so they showed them a compilation of what they wanted them to see. And it was Karmelo basically walking up. It was Karmelo running away. And it was just that. So they were showing that he was the aggressor. He intended this, and he ran away from there. That was their cry as far.
I can agree with that. I can agree with that. They turn our truth into a lie and turn their truth into lies. I can agree with that.
As far as the prosecution, the defense never rebutted that. And so they were not shown this 15 minutes. They were not shown that. They were just shown a compilation, which was still shots, little snippets of video, from my understanding, maybe a minute long, a few seconds long, had the little hourglass thing on it to show Karmelo, all those things. But the prosecution did proffer this entire 15 minutes up to be used if needed be. And so that's kind of that moment. And so the defense just never offered any of the footage, and they have all the footage because it was all turned over to them, because you have to, because of exculpatory evidence. The defense just never used it because they never planned on mounting the defense for Karmelo, period.
Okay, because somebody told me, about the Brady violation. So I had to look that up. And it clearly says that the Brady violation occurs when the prosecution fails to disclose material that could somehow help the defense. But now you're saying that, yeah, it was provided, they just didn't use it. So essentially the defense had the full video, just never relied on it as evidence?
Correct, because it's ineffective.
Wow. So the defense, Karmelo's attorneys had these full live videos and just never relied on it, y'all. Never used it. His appeal should go through just because of the non-black jury and the ineffectiveness of his counsel, y'all. All of the evidence that was omitted, all of the altered witness statements. This is sickening, man. And I feel bad for that young man every day that he's in there. But trust me, I know Karmelo's okay. I know that those black people are going to actually take care and protect Karmelo Anthony in there. I'm telling you, y'all. I'm telling you. I have been in the system. I know how it works. Karmelo Anthony is going to be deemed a hero. They're going to surround Karmelo. They're going to protect Karmelo while he's incarcerated. I'm telling you, whether Karmelo was out here getting money and donations or not, they would take care of Karmelo, make sure that he's eating, make sure that he's protected. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. They're not going to harm Karmelo. Those black inmates aren't going to let it happen, and those black CEOs aren't going to let it happen. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, I've been inside of the system. I have been to prison. I know how it works. I'm telling you right now, he's going to be protected. They're going to rally around him. No one will lay a hair or a finger on Karmelo Anthony, because a lot of those black people in there are in there on falsely accused crimes, and they're probably in there for protecting themselves against the same type of people. So they understand, y'all. I guarantee you, I feel it in my spirit. Karmelo is all right. He's probably a little shook. He's missing home. He's not used to this process, you know. But he'll be exonerated. They have to turn this one around. They have to turn this one around. That appeal can take up to a year.
System of counsel at that point in time. The prosecutor, look, one thing we have to understand is that in all of their issues, as far as the DA's office in Collin County, they're not dumb. And so they know exactly if you commit a Braley violation, that's the easiest way for a person to get out of jail free, period. And so they were not going to not give the exculpatory evidence to the defense. Now, what did happen is that somewhere in there, after about a week or two of Mike Howard getting on this case, he decided to not be a lawyer anymore. And so whether that was at the behest of the judge, behest of the prosecution, DA Willis, whoever, somebody got in his ear and got in his life and got in his mind, and he decided not to be a lawyer anymore. Because I know that when he took this case over from the other two attorneys that were on it right before that and got fired, they had already started working on trying to get it dismissed. He took up on that case and he was working on trying to get it dismissed. And then all of a sudden he has an ex parte meeting with the DA's office and whoever else at the Collin County Courthouse building. And after that, he forgot how to be a lawyer. And that showed all the way up to the time that we saw through trial. So that's kind of what we're dealing with. So there, from my knowledge, there was no Brady violation when it came to the videos, because I know that the defense received all of the videos.
This brother right here is very informative. Every time he speaks, he has valuable and new information, y'all. New and valuable information every time he speaks, ladies and gentlemen. And I can appreciate that from him, because we're not getting the truth, you know, in too many areas. You know, we're getting nothing but gray areas, and we're getting bits and pieces of information that we have to comb through to see whether it's an honest, whether it's an honest take or not. Prison industry got one soul for 35 years. They won't have him for 35 years. They won't have him for 35 years. I'm pretty sure this is getting overturned. I'm pretty sure. This video right here alone, man, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. So it would have been on the defense then to show this portion and just zoom in so that the jury can, you know, have that reasonable doubt. Because when I look at this, I'm like, okay, if they say it wasn't a fight, they lying. Now, I've heard some people say, and even like in multiple different chats, they say, well, Karmelo said he put his hands on me. I didn't take that as him saying that it wasn't other people, because I feel like when you're in a situation, especially when you know, adrenaline is running, you may say he, but it was they. So I didn't take that as an indicator that it was one person opposed to multiple people. What do you think about that video where Karmelo says he put his hands on me opposed to they?
I think people have to understand that context always matters. Even this video, when we get further into it, you will see that once Karmelo ran away, he ran over toward the coaches. He got to a coach. We know that from the coach who testified that he talked to Karmelo. He walked with Karmelo. He told Karmelo, you know, if he passes away, your life is done. And Karmelo was like, no, he's going to be okay. And he was like, no, if he passes away, his life is going to be over. And Karmelo started crying. If you watch this video as we go further, you're going to see that said coach. And that coach actually walked him over toward where Austin was laying on the ground. They had that long conversation. So now Karmelo knows that when he ran away, he didn't know what happened. But when he is walked back over there and the coach is going back and forth, now he know that it's he, Austin, because the coach is telling him it's he, Austin. So when the officers get there and they're saying I have the alleged suspect, the first response Karmelo is saying that, hey, no, I'm not alleged. I did it because the coach just told me he did it. And then once they go further, now he's crying and saying, hey, he should have put his hands on me because the coach told him that this young man might lose his life because he did put his hands on him. So the context is that he was informed by said coach that it's now not they, it's he that might lose his life. So that's all Karmelo was thinking about. He's not thinking about nothing else. So when he made that statement, it was he.
It's your life. Pack in all the things you love, like Breakstone's cottage cheese, packed with.
My bad, ladies and gentlemen. You know I gotta take care of my guinea pigs. I'm feeding my guinea babies. I'm feeding my guinea babies. Okay, don't hold it against me, y'all. Don't hold it against me. Got to feed the fur babies. All right. Got to feed the fur babies. You know, I wonder that same thing. I don't want to speak it because on YouTube we can't deny someone their victimhood. But I have been wondering that same thing. I have been wondering that very same thing. Did he? I'm not going to say it, but Sam Sargent, I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm wondering. This has been, man, that has crossed my mind so many times. So many times. I just can't say it. And if he did he really pass away from what happened with Karmelo, or was it something else involved?
Dwayne, I think your signal went out a little bit.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Okay, that makes sense. Because I'm like, listen, in a situation where, you're in a fight, you ain't gonna say everything the way that you would say it if you're not in the fight. So I'm glad you said that. So it wasn't that he denied that he wasn't jumped, because we can see that it was not a one person thing. You can see even by this not being as clear that there are people standing up. Remember, the people who saw the video they've all stated, and I'm going to play some of these witnesses' account. They said that they all surrounded him. So when I'm looking at this, I'm like, okay, this is what I'm seeing, because I have heard other people say the video that they saw, they surrounded him. So that would make sense.
Correct.
Now, my next question is, when watching this video, I'm just trying.
Happy Father's Day to all fathers just entering. If you are now just coming in, make sure that you're hitting that like button and subscribe button. I thank everyone for their support. Thank you for being up early with me. I know that everyone's saturating the internet talking about the Karmelo case, but how can we not? How can we not? This is our young son. This is our young nephew. This is our young future. Okay? An injustice to one is an injustice to all of us, because it could be any one of us on any given day using the same method of operation we watch these vampires use on Karmelo Anthony, y'all. So at this point, they've only caused us to unify. They've only caused us to unify. The race war that they wanted to get is not what they're getting. They weren't ready for black unification. They weren't ready for black intellect. They wasn't ready for that black dollar. They weren't ready for black power. And I told y'all the black dollar holds a majority of the power in this country. Y'all see all these celebrities coming out. Karmelo's going to have a hell of a defense. He's going to have multiple appellate attorneys. They're combing through this case right now. They're combing through all of the discrepancies of this case right now. So within 1 year, hopefully, when Karmelo returns on that appeal, y'all, I'm hoping that this brother is coming home. I'm hoping that this brother is coming home. This hurts me every day. This hurts me every day. And everyone's saying, well, he should have took the 7 or 8 years and he would have been home in 5. If you're not guilty, you're just not damn it guilty. But that's how the system is set up. The system isn't set up so that you can prove your innocence. It's set up so that they can get a conviction off of a plea bargain, because they scare you. If you go to trial and lose, you know what happens? The same damn thing that just happens to Karmelo. So you know how many black people per day are charged with crimes that they did not commit? But if you take it to trial in front of an all white or non-black jury, they're going to decimate you and make an example out of you. So you might as well take the plea bargain and have this on your record, even though you're not getting. There's so many black people, man, that can tell this story in America. That's frustrating alone. We can write multiple documentaries, you know, and make multiple movies about that alone in this country. You know, I think all black people can write a book on that, because in our black families, we all know of someone or have someone who has gone through this injustice within the system, ladies and gentlemen. We see it all the time. We know it all too well. It's all about getting the conviction, not pleading your innocence. You know, you can maintain your innocence throughout your whole entire prison sentence. These people don't care. They got what they wanted. They got the conviction, and they got your black soul working as a slave inside of their institutions. That is their end game. From school to the prison pipeline, as Dr. Umar would put it. From the public school system to the prison pipeline, y'all.
Trying to figure out, like, I'm really trying to figure out at what point did the poke happen? You know what I mean? Like, people say that they saw somebody throw something in the garbage can. So I've been like watching it over and over again. What's the likelihood that, you know, they had a weapon and somehow, you know, with the fight that somebody else poked, you know, Austin? Because I'm just like, I don't believe nothing until I hear what Karmelo have to say, because these people are clearly liars.
Yeah, and you can clearly see that one young kid that actually went toward the trash can, he hit it so hard that it actually moved. And that was as they were chasing Karmelo. And so it's a moment to where, from the evidence and even from the photo of the wound.
I'm just not starting to check my email. Danielle Terry, thank you. Thank you. Let's see what this is here. Quite off topic, but let's see what we got here.
It's a lot. You ever check if you qualify for any assistance programs? Like food stamps? I don't think I qualify. That's one program. There are over 1,000. 1,000? Federal assistance programs. Housing, education, childcare, healthcare, utilities, small business grants. Most people have no idea this exists. Where would they even find something like that? Benefits.gov. What's that? It's the government's master database. Every federal assistance program across every agency all in one place. And I can just look it up. Better, they have a questionnaire. You answer a few questions about your situation, income, family size, employment location.
Danielle Terry, thank you again for that. I'm going to start checking my emails more. I have people sending me stories. Sorry if I don't get back to you right away. I've been trying to live my life as well, you know what I mean? But we're going to get back to just grinding this thing out, because I guess this is my life. Everything that I endeavor in just seems to kind of go south at this point. So, no. I take it as it comes. I take it as it comes.
Because that also got released. I'm out of town, so I haven't been able to get to the courthouse myself and go get my information from my PIR request. But looking at what everybody has shown, the wound looks more like a slash, and he's open by that slash. And so then looking at the actual tool that he used, I know this is YouTube, so I don't want to show it to you, but I have an actual replica almost of that same type of tool, because it has the window crasher thing that I carry with me from a vehicle. So if I ever get into an accident, my windows don't work, I can break it. It also has a little thing where you can cut the seatbelt if your seatbelt is locked. And that's exactly what that tool was. Now, we knew also that Hunter carries one every day. We have photos of it being in his pocket every day. His father said that he had just bought Austin and him one because they had took out their first wild hog in hunting the week or two prior to this. And so this is Texas we're talking about.
Right.
Mostly everybody carries a tool on them. So it's just what that is. And so there was never any evidence proffered that, one, it was Karmelo's, two, that there was no DNA or anything on it or blood that belongs to Karmelo on it. Also, they didn't even show the jury the actual evidence. The person said that they didn't want to wear gloves, so they brought a replica. That was the first time in history in court I ever seen them not bring the actual weapon. And then
that was a red. But that was a red flag to me because I'm like,
I told y'all. Now there's whispers and alleged rumors that same weapon that they failed to present in court was actually one of the twins. It actually had the twins' initials, one of the twins' initials on the other side. On the other side.
Yes.
Where in history someone passed away and they don't even bring the weapon? So it made me, I started to think, who else had their hands on that weapon to the point that they didn't want to bring it in court? I'm thinking that there were other fingerprints on it, because now that I see the level of the cover-up that these people will go through, I don't believe, unless he said.
I'm with Lakeisha on that. I'm starting to think that it had other fingerprints on it as well. And this is why Hunter never testified. Ladies and gentlemen, they hid the weapon. They hid Hunter. They didn't let Karmelo testify. Y'all, this was definitely, man. Yo, so there's videos of Eddie now pulling out his cell phone on Facebook. Okay. Shia Miller, Chaya, Chaya Miller on Facebook. Eddie definitely planned it all. Eddie invited Karmelo over to the tent. Eddie texted Austin and Hunter to come. Nobody had an issue with Karmelo sitting under the tent until the twins got there. Soon as they saw Karmelo under the tent, that's when it escalated. Eddie pulled out his phone and was recording. And there it is. Eddie standing there recording. Eddie is standing there recording, ladies and gentlemen. He's standing there recording. There's Eddie standing right there recording, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry about the light, but standing right there recording. Yep. I'm going to share that to my Facebook page. I'm going to save that reel as well, because that's important. See, why didn't all of this come out? Why didn't the jury pick up on this when they showed this stuff? Why didn't the jury pick up on this when they showed this stuff?
Says that that he had it for whatever reason. He has it. But when I look at the pictures of Hunter and Austin, I see them going fishing and things like that. So it makes more sense that they had it. So I think that they had it and he somehow got it away from them or flipped it on them. And that could be the reason why everybody is so angry, because I just don't believe that he had it. I just don't.
Yeah, my thought on it, and this is my thought, and I'll say allegedly, and before I say it, from what I know and what I've seen, I believe that Hunter had it. And I know that just from the way that they dealt with this whole entire case. Everything is about blaming Austin. Put all the blame on Austin, because he's not here.
Correct. And I said that, and I witnessed that in this case. They switched it, okay? Hunter initially said twice on his TV interview, that he asked Karmelo, "Who are you? Who are you?" He said it out of his own mouth 2 times, ladies and gentlemen. But in court, it was said that Austin asked Karmelo, "Who are you and what are you doing here?" We also heard Hunter say that Karmelo started talking all reckless, and then Austin came over to see what was going on and protect him because he's always been a protector. Hunter and Eddie needs to be locked up. Hunter and Eddie needs to be locked up because they lied. And see, it just came out that might have been Hunter's weapon. So it wasn't that Karmelo took this weapon there. Hunter took it. They've always changed the narrative. Remember, they were saying Karmelo was suspended. He was never suspended. The twins were. Karmelo wasn't supposed to be there. He wasn't competing. The roster came out last year. Karmelo was supposed to be there. You know who wasn't supposed to be there? The twins. Because they had left a track meet earlier the week before, and coach told them that their services wasn't needed for this particular track meet as a punishment. Okay? Now they're telling you that Karmelo bought a poker to school, and Karmelo never took a poker to school. Why Karmelo wouldn't take the stand and just say this, I don't know. I don't know. It belonged to one of the twins, and they used it to help put up that tent, and they dropped it, which is how Karmelo allegedly recovered it. Allegedly recovered it. They're only showing you one side of that weapon, y'all. On the other side, one of the twins' initials are engraved inside of it, y'all. I have been glued to this case. I have been glued to this case, and I'm not going to give up and or stop speaking about this. I'm not, because it can happen to any one of our black sons or any one of our black daughters any day of the week. Any day of the week.
But Hunter is the one that, by his own admission on WFAA Channel 8 News, on the same day that this happened, April 2nd, hours after going to see your brother at the hospital, he stated that he was the one that started this issue and situation, and that his brother always had his back, whether he was right or wrong. And so I believe that Hunter took it out. Hunter's fingerprints are on it. His DNA is on it. And I think that's probably how Karmelo got the finger prick on his finger, where the little blood is shown, where the cop said he noticed it later. I think is where he got it from, because he was trying to get away from them actually slicing him. And I think that Hunter put it in a position to where Austin fell on it, because everybody was rushing Karmelo at the same time. Austin was aggressing upon him and put him in the headlock. And so this is what I feel from what I know from the evidence. And then also from them not, because Hunter was not there at the trial at all. His daddy kept him at home. And even when the defense was asking for him to be produced, they took a recess and did all other kind of stuff, and he never showed up. But then once he was convicted and the sentencing phase came and they had to do the victim impact.
And that was the only time that we saw Hunter show up. After the sentencing, during a witness impact statement. That is the only time we saw Hunter standing there. Yeah. See, I'm telling you, man, these people got exactly what was coming to them. Karmelo's coming home. But I'm going to say this, man. They're not getting Austin back. We're going to get Karmelo back. Even if he does do 35 years, we'll get Karmelo back. But these people will never see Austin again. And it's sad to say that they are deserving of this, but they should have just raised their kids better. Ain't that what Jake Lang was out there yelling? You know, raise your kids. This is what you put into your children. Fathers, this and that in the home. Practice what you preach, Shay Whitey. Practice what you preach, you racist vampire. Practice what you preach, you descendant of a colonizer. Practice what you preach, you immigrant. That's where I'm coming from. That is my perspective, man. Damn a Austin Metcalf. Damn a Hunter Metcalf. Damn a Jeff Metcalf. And I'd damn the mama too if I knew her name. Because all of them should have raised their children better. And all of them needs to learn how to stop lying and be accountable. Your children had the biggest role to play in this. Your surviving son played the biggest role in the unaliving of your twin son, and no one's talking about that. They just want to blame the black guy. We saw this with the fall of Black Wall Street. We saw this with the lies on Emmett Till. We saw this with Fred Hampton. We saw this so many times. So many times. I appreciate that. Thank you for the $10 super chat. Do you think the defense was paid not to defend Karmelo properly, or do you think he was scared to do the job he's paid to do because the racial attack that may come off of both? Both. I think you're right in both analogies. Both. I can agree with both of those. Both. He's from that town. He has to live in that town. So if he gets this black kid off for unaliving this white kid in this sundown part of Texas, then his family would have received all kind of backlash and death threats and everything. And yes, I do think he was compromised and paid or coerced. You know, he was probably threatened ahead of time. Don't get this guy off. You get this guy off, you know what's coming, what's going to happen to you and your family. These are all alleges that could very well be possible. So I agree with both. I agree with both. I'm sorry I can't pick one, but I indubitably agree with both. I think two things can be true at once, and those two things are definitely true. Good take and good question. And again, thank you for the super chat.
Fact statements. He was brought there by his friends in the car. We saw him pull up, saw him get out, saw him go in the courtroom. But you were not present at any other time until after the fact. And then you have the nerves to be on the stand telling Karmelo to look at me, boy, look at me, look at me. What? And it's because you know that what you did. And when they left, someone shouted out to him that you're the reason why your brother is not here no more. And you could have seen the look on his face. He put his head down and he got in the back of that car because the guilt is on him. And the same thing with his dad when he was doing that interview. And the guy said, hey, here's Hunter. You know, you have anything to say to Hunter? That man looked like he could take that man out.
Do y'all hear this? And in Hunter's interview, we heard him shush his mom, and he was like, shh. You know, he was like, shh. All right. And then Karmelo, not Austin, Hunter also said in the first interview that, well, that's all I'm going to talk about. I'm not going to talk about the rest of it. There's a reason you refuse to talk about the rest of it, because you did not want to incriminate yourself, because they were already trying to take you out the equation, Hunter. They didn't want to lose two sons, one to the graveyard and one to the system. But it is true. Hunter is the reason that his twin brother is no longer here. Imagine having to live with this as a twin, knowing that you're the reason that your twin isn't here. Imagine Jeff having to live with this, knowing that the way he raised his sons from the fathers not being in the home, y'all, is the reason that he has his son lying dormant in a graveyard right now. I wonder if he looks at Hunter with disgust every time he sees Hunter. Every time you see Hunter, you're reminded of Austin. I really would like to know what this family is going through. I would really like to know. Y'all know these households can't have too many children. They only had two. And they happen to be twins. You know, we know they can't procreate and reproduce at higher rates. So, yeah, this is real messed up for them. This is real messed up for them. And yet I feel no sympathy.
Out. And he said, no, I don't have nothing to say. And he just stared at him. And you can hear the alarm of the truck open the doors. You can hear the door shut. And Jeff stopped the whole interview and just looked at him and stared at him. And if looks could kill, Hunter wouldn't be here right now. Right. And so people, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I heard that. I got to find out.
So this is an account of one of the students who saw the interactions between Jeff Metcalf and Hunter Metcalf right after this happened. And they just testified and said that if looks could kill from the way that Jeff looked at Hunter, then Hunter wouldn't be here right now. You know, Hunter wouldn't be here right now, which means that Jeff was very disgusted with the actions of Hunter Metcalf. And this also signifies that Jeff knew the truth of why Austin is no longer here, and he still played the blame game and allowed Karmelo to suffer for this. To suffer for this. Hunter, you've got to live with these demons. Not only do you have to live with the demon of being the reason that your twin brother is no longer here, but you also have to deal with the demons of getting someone locked up and convicted at your expense over your lies. All right. Hunter, I'm telling you, man, nothing's good gonna happen for you, and nothing good will happen to your father. You know, and I've taken to my altar to make sure of that. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I've taken to my altar. I told y'all I do my work. I don't believe in all that Christian bull crap. I believe in the very stuff that Bible tells you should stay away from, because it's all the same. I had someone ask me one time, would you put roots on me? And I looked at them, and my response would be, well, would you ever pray for me? Because if you're praying for me, you're putting your roots on me anyways. I don't believe in that. You know, I don't believe in that. So respect me. I respect you. But I'm already working at the altar, y'all. I'm already working at the altar. All right. At this time, I'd like to pass the offering plate. $sign Mr. Uncut Consciousness. Also press the like button, share this conversation, and take a moment and jingle the bell. Ushers, it is Sunday, and it is Father's Day. Ushers, lock the doors. Lock the doors, ushers. Lock the doors, ushers. We're after the women today. We're after the women. Women, y'all know how we look out for y'all on Mother's Day. You know, ain't no half price on no jewelry for men and all that on Father's Day. Ain't nobody sitting beside a roll selling nothing that you can buy to your man at the last minute, buy for your man to take to him. You know what I'm saying? Ladies, now would be a good time to show your appreciation. Y'all know these women can't stand their baby daddies. They can't stand us. Half of them keeping our kids away, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Half of them weaponize our kids for child support. They keep the kids away and claim that the new man is the daddy. You never see your kid. We know where. Listen, let's tell the truth, fathers. Let's tell the truth. The one thing we're not going to do is be fooled by these black women on Father's Day. That's one thing we're not going to do. These black women have helped ruin Father's Day for us. So, but if y'all want to pass around the offering tray, if you want to collect anything, you know, I just got to tell it like it is, man. I'm not going to get on here and sugarcoat and take up for nobody. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna just tell it like it is, man. Black women have ruined Father's Day for black men. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't the same. It ain't the same. A lot of us could care less about Father's Day, but happy Father's Day to all. We're passing the tray around. Ushers lock the doors. You know, we'll collect whatever pennies that we can, but we already know if we had to depend on these women to look out for us on Father's Day with the way that they weaponize our children against us, take us out of our children's lives and everything else, man, listen. It's just as poison as what we're saying that they did to Karmelo Anthony during this trial, you know. And I'm just going to put that energy out there because that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. Half of these black women all on social media telling each other Happy Father's Day because they keep the kids away and raise the kids on their own and they're independent and they're this and that. Man, fuck these women.
That interview, but somebody said, and I'm gonna say allegedly too, I really believe the sole purpose of their hate toward Karmelo is because they were trying to do to him what ended up happening to that brother. And that brother feels sorry for what happened because he is the reason that it happened. You see what I'm saying? I'm like, something is, you know, and then think about it. Your brother, you know, especially your twin brother, you don't show up to court. Why are you not in court? No weapon has been produced. I said, no, it's something else. Story. It's something.
And he didn't even testify. If my twin brother, or even if my little brother, was in a position like that and he's gone, I'm going to be on that stand telling everybody about what you did to my brother, and I'm going to make sure the jury knows my grief, my hurt, my loss. So when they go back there and they deliberate, I want them to go and touch the sky when it comes for you to be locked up. He was not nowhere. He ain't from testifying. They never called him to the stand to testify because they knew he couldn't. Because if he did, he was going to break down in guilt.
Right. They didn't want him cross-examined. They didn't want him exposing any guilt. You know, you have people in there who are trained to watch your body language. who are trained to hang on to every word you say, every reaction you show, every action you don't show. They did not want to throw Hunter in a line of fire. But that's a disservice to your twin brother that you shared an egg with. That's a disservice. You share the same birthday, you share his looks. You're a clone of your twin brother who's no longer here. And you don't take the stand to man up on behalf of your twin brother, to show the world your grief and your pain. Sounds like guilt to me. Sounds like guilt to me. Let's roll with it.
And one thing y'all have to remember, he didn't show up in court until after the fact, after the jury was gone, because just his pure presence of walking in, seeing how tall he is, seeing how much bigger he is than Karmelo, would have let the jury know that, wait a minute, this is a problem, because visual matter is in court. That's why they cut Karmelo's hair off, because visual matter. And so at the end of the day, all those things were red flags that should have let everybody know. And like I said in September of last year, that if they went to trial, Karmelo was getting 30 years because they had no interest in the judicial system working the way it's supposed to. They just wanted to lock him away and then take him up out of here, because that's what the full intent was in the beginning from the Metcalf twins and their friends. Karmelo wasn't supposed to make it past Carkendall Stadium that day, period. He wasn't supposed to be here. And they were going to take him up out of here, and they were going to say it was self-defense, and they were standing their ground, and they had the right to castle doctrine. They were going to have all of that because it's Texas. And people don't understand that Texas law clearly states this when it comes to self-defense. If I have a reason to believe that you are about to cause me harm physically, anybody injury to include death, I have the right to take you up out of here and let you go see Black Jesus. That's what the law says. You don't even have to touch me for that to be a reasonable belief. I have reason to believe I can take you up out of here. And case law and other cases that just happened in Texas right before Karmelo and after Karmelo have proven that to be. But in this instance, it was friends taking care of friends.
Yeah, because he was all right for Case and Allison, huh? He was all right for Case and Allison. Dropped his charges down, gave him 10 years. He's only going to do about 5. Was it manslaughter, criminal negligence or something? And he's going to see Joe Ramirez in the hospital, ICU, no longer breathing. He wanted to hurt him bad, and he intentionally took a pokem to school and Chuckied this man in the bathroom, man. But because Casey Allison is white, that's I got to say it how it is.
Because Jeff Metcalf, D.A. Willis, the ADA that prosecuted this case, everybody involved, they all know each other from being in the Republican MAGA party and being out there in North Texas. Even the young lady that I have problems with that messed around with me and set me up, Tiffany, she has MAGA ties. And one of the dudes that's in the photo with them, she used to have me arrested. And so all these people have all these things that tie in. And also one of my sisters just texted me and said that dealing with the knife, it's alleged that one of the twins' initials were actually on the knife. That's why they did not show it in the.
There we go. What do y'all think about that? What do y'all think about that? I told y'all, I love social media, man. I love being a content creator. I love journalism because we get a chance to put our own truth out there. No matter how much YouTube shadow bans us, no matter how much they dock our pay, no matter how much they demonetize videos, you can't stop the message. You can't stop the message. And social media is putting it out there, man. We would not be getting any real news, if we just had to depend on mainstream media, because we know how that's set up. It's set up to make us look bad. They're just going to show mug shots. They're just going to flash our records. We know who run mainstream media. The same poison that came here on boats, stealing, pillaging, and lying and everything else. We know. So thank God for Black social media. You understand what I'm saying? Thank God for Black truths, Black political perspectives. Thank God for Black excellence, Black ingenuity. Thank God for that.
courthouse. So we're going to say allegedly. But I know that Jeff Metcalf said that he gave them initial inscribed knives before that. And so we know that theirs have initials. That's why they didn't bring the knife. And that's why you only see it from one side. So you won't see the initials. And so those are the things that we have to be aware of, that Texas law stands on Karmelo's side and anybody's side, so you can go home the way you came. What didn't stand on his side was Judge Roach's courtroom, because Judge Roach was going to make sure, I don't care if Johnny Cochran was living and was in there, the outcome would have been the same, because it wouldn't have been nothing that Johnny Cochran could do to make that happen like it happened. And like I said, I've had many conversations with a lot of people. I've been boots on the ground since April the 2nd of last year on this case. I live in the area, so I know about this stuff. But I've also talked to people who were involved in this case, and still are talking to people. Just talked to somebody earlier that was intimately involved in this case, and it was set up from the beginning. The jurors and the potential jurors would tell you just the makeup of what was going on, that this was going to be this outcome regardless. And so we have to make sure that we do what we're supposed to do to get him up out of there and get him free, and also put pressure on Greg Abbott, which is our governor, and also on our Attorney General, Ken Paxton, to do what's right for him as well. And as someone just told me, because people are watching and they're texting me at the same time, they said they were going to lynch Karmelo. That's what their plan was. The kids, not the adults. So that, and if you look at the video, you can tell that it was a pre-planned moment, that what they were doing. Yeah, and we know that by a young man that did a Snapchat video, and it said 2 minutes before. And that young man can be seen coming into the canopy. That's why I tell people it's a lot of information that's out there that they just don't know. And so when we get the full video, I'm going to post it, and I'm going to dictate that bad baby all the way through, because there was a lot of players and there's a lot of video out there from these young people. I know that EP still has his. So I'm going to make that a moment out here too, because I've talked to some young people, said they seen it, that he was showing it. And so where he testified, he don't know, and he was faking like he was recording. No, he hasn't. He showed it to people. They were laughing and having a good time because of his jealousy about the person that's supposed to be his friend. And so those are the things we have to expose.
One of the things I want people to understand, because I've had experience with it, going to predominantly white schools, when white kids do stuff, they sweep it under the rug. You know, when black kids do something, they call the police and all of that.
Ooh, she's speaking right now. Ooh, she's speaking. Look at all these black facts coming out, y'all. I told you, actual, factual, and blacktual, y'all. I told y'all, man. I told y'all. But they'll tell us to stop playing victim. They'll say that these things don't exist. You know what I mean? They'll tell us to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. You know what I mean? That's what they'll tell us. We're not allowed to give our testimonies, but they're allowed to testify their lies. You feel me? We're not allowed to give we testify and they tell lies. Black people testify and white people tell lies, y'all. The truth is not in these people, just like the religious white supremacist Jesus they made up is not in these people.
They don't do that on white kids. So I know some people in the chat will be like, ooh, they were doing that. No. White kids do whatever they want to do when they go to school. You know, they programs. When white children get in trouble, let me give you an example. If they're doing, drugs at school, they'll create a program, you know what I mean? Because they don't want to kick them out. They tailor to what they do. They do not kick them out of school. Like black kids are kicked out of school. So I want people to understand, because if you don't understand the culture, you'll say, no, they wasn't planning to do that. And you better believe if they were planning to do that and the grown-ups found out, they're going to sit them kids down and tell them what you better say, because we got to put it on him, because you guys got to go to school. They don't think about these kids are crazy. They need help. They need to spend some time in jail. They'll just put it on somebody else and let them live their life while this innocent person is in prison.
Correct. And I'm glad you said that, because the twins were known bullies to all the cities around and Frisco since the 4th grade. This is what they've been doing. They've been covering up for them. The twins were actually suspended from school. They were on what's called in-house suspension. They weren't supposed to be there because of that fact. And then also the coach testified, which we knew already, that both of them were actually off the team. They weren't supposed to be there, period. And so this is the different standard that's given to them versus us, because they were not supposed to be there at all. And the coach actually testified and said that he texted Austin and told him to step up.
Tom Ogle drove 200 miles on only 2 gallons of gasoline.
Royal Raymond Rife claimed he could heal cancer using sound frequencies.
Nikola Tesla built.
What are you stepping up to? Because they came in that gate. when you saw earlier, with a purpose. And we always said that they were moving with a purpose. And he was putting his sleeves up, had his shorts all on. Everybody else in sweats. What you in shorts for? Because you were going over there with a purpose. You and your twin both looking just the same, with the same purpose. It's just Hunter wasn't built like Austin. Austin was the aggressor. Hunter was the problem starter. And then he let Austin finish it up. And so you can see that energy on them. And so, but this is a moment that they have been doing when they were harassing the cheerleaders at Kane's restaurant in Frisco. That girl sent, her parents sent an email. They sent an email complaining about these kids to the administration. They swept it under the rug. Everything these twins have ever done has been swept under the rug. And that's the reason why Austin is not here today. Because of his parents, because of the Frisco ISD, because that's the only ISD they've been in, have always swept them and their conduct under the rug. And they allowed them to get away with everything because Jeff Metcalf is their friend. He's known to them. And so since he's known to them, they give him that courtesy where they did not give it to Karmelo. They didn't give it to a young man called his name is Tristan Weekly, where he was at the middle school and a lady went there trying to abduct him. They had it on camera. His mama actually tried her best to work this thing out. And then people railroaded her around, changed the video, and railroaded us trying to get the information. So this is a Frisco problem.
Yeah, this is a sundown town, Frisco, Texas problem. That's what this is. Keisha's here. Everybody, Keisha's here. Keisha didn't hit that like button when she came in, though. Keisha. Yeah. This is a Frisco County problem right here. Collin County, sundown town problem right here. A white supremacist problem right here. That's what this is. You know what I'm saying? Racism and white racists in this country should be like a pandemic and an epidemic all tied into one. Real talk, y'all.
Problem. A Frisco ISD problem. A Frisco PD problem. When the detective was working on it, they reassigned him. And they told him that it's above his pay grade. So sit down somewhere. So this is a systematic moment that we're dealing with, because when they know they're protecting their own, because this person knew who that young man was. She called his name. This is his second day in middle school coming from 6th grade. He's his first day in 7th grade. Who knows him at the school already? And you know this young man's name. You call him, you drug him, and they found this young man miles away at somebody's doorstep that's on a Ring camera calling the popo because he's there. And the only thing they tell his mama is that what underwear he's wearing. And she's like, what? So this is a symptom, and this ties back into this case because they did the same thing to her. And people like myself that was trying to get information the same way they did it here, hiding it through Ken Paxton and all that. We just kind of outsmarted them on her part because she was listening, where the family didn't listen to what we were trying to tell them on this side. And so we're still trying to get justice both ways. But this is a moment to where it explains what they are allowing their people to do, because we know they know who this lady is because they told us they did without telling us. And the same thing here. They knew exactly what the twins had done. They knew all of this. Megan and
They definitely knew. They definitely knew. You know, these twins had a reputation. These twins had a reputation, all right, for bullying people. And they wanted to make these twins just look like they were white Jesuses. Woo! Glory was upon them. You know, everything white, they try to make look right. But when it's black, oh man, we're under attack. Y'all know how it goes, man. And that's why it's important for us to stick together. We have to stick together, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I posted all the links to these videos, you know, in the description box. Y'all feel free to run through all of these videos. Some of you came in late, so you missed some of the things that I showed earlier. You can actually replay this live. For those who care, who really want to help me build and get the message out and unify, you know, please hit the like button, subscribe button, hype the video, you know, send a super chat, send a super gift, you know, whatever it takes. Let's be supportive, ladies and gentlemen. But if you think for a second that I'm going to stop talking about this case, I'm going to be one of the many platforms on YouTube that's talking about this case the most. I'm going to get back to other content, but I'm going to stay glued to this, just like I have been since the day that this happened, April 2nd of last year, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not giving up on this, because this right here is an injustice to all Black people. This right here needs our focus, demands our focus, demands our attention. This right here tells us that we have to stand up against these colonizers. Enough is enough. We're not losing any more children. We're not losing any more black sleep, any more black lives, any more black integrity, any more black confidence. We're not losing it. We're not going to render or surrender that to the enemy, ladies and gentlemen. It is time to stand 10 toes down on business, in the words of Malcolm X, ladies and gentlemen, by any means necessary. And I'm glad to see us handling this thing legally and putting our money together to represent this brother. And if they can raise money for their races, show up the builders and their Daniel Pennies and their Shiloh Hendricks and everything, we can raise money for ours, ladies and gentlemen. Keep up the black magic. Okay, let's saturate the world in black power, and let's show them what black love and black unity is, y'all. Black excellence, because this is what it is. They have now woken up the black culture, but they didn't wake us up the way they wanted to wake us up. They thought they were going to rattle us and start a race war. Oh no, we've always been smarter than you. We've always been smarter than you. We know how to be civilized and sophisticated. We know how to be intelligent. We know how to move on and off the grid. And it's one thing that we know all too well is how you people get down and how you act. We know who you are. We're not quite sure what the hell we did to you. But man, there's centuries of rundowns on what the hell y'all did to us and other people too. And maybe that's why y'all don't like the truth. And maybe that's why y'all don't like to be accountable. This brother will make it home. This brother will make it home. You know, he will make it home. I'm going to hold faith in the ancestors, not their white Jesus, not their created God, but our ancestors, those who went through the same struggles and turmoil that we go through today. Those who had to live with the same racism and injustices that we still deal with today. I'm going to hold faith in those souls and that bloodshed and the strength of my ancestors and the things that they got accomplished for us to have the civil liberties and freedoms that we have right now. I'm going to hold on to faith and hope that our ancestors are not only going to protect Karmelo, but they're going to guide this brother home. They're going to guide this brother home. He will be exonerated. Ladies and gentlemen, happy Father's Day to all. You know, man, I apologize, you know, for all the effed up baby mamas of the world. You know what I mean? But we know what it is. So don't get psyched up today and think that today is really about you. It's only about the women. They're going to take credit for raising the children, keeping the children away, lying to the children, wanting the next man that they got with after they broke up with you to be the baby dad. You know, just let's look at everything for what it is. We can look at the truth with white people. We can look at the truth of how these black women act with our children too. You understand what I'm saying? It ain't no game. Y'all know I speak the real when I come on here. And I will put anyone in the line of fire because I believe in truth and honesty. So I don't give a damn who it hurts. I don't care who it hurts. Most of our baby mothers are pieces of shit. Most of these women and the things they do with our children, they deserve the same damn thing that Austin got. That's my take on it. You know what I'm saying? Fuck these women when it comes to these children. And they know it. These children are just a payday and an income tax check for these women. That's all it is. It's power to these women. Fuck the baby mamas. All right? Y'all know what to do, man. Y'all get your one-on-one. Get your one-on-one. Get your one-on-one with the real internal indigenous spiritual most high. Y'all stay prayed up, stay blessed up, stay meditated up, stay protected, stay real, stay conscious, stay uncut, be inspired, be great, be you. Ashe.